Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Raghava Swami Namane Namaste Gaura Sevayam Sada Niveditatmane Yuvado Prabhupadardam Varnasrama Pracharine Namavam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachachya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So, in this material world, English okay na? In this material world, we are all in ignorance. So, I am also in dark ignorance. The symptom of material world is avidya. First one is avidya, then ahankar, then krodha, then envy, jealousy. So these are the symptoms. 5 symptoms are mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I was also, before having all these qualities full, it is going, my education was like I came in contact in Krishna consciousness with Krishna consciousness in Tirumala, Tirupati. So I should thank Lord Balaji who has given me opportunity through Srila Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita. After reading that, slowly I turned myself. So these are all material education will not be able to success in human form of life. Then I changed my goal slowly to Krishna consciousness. But already it was 25 years. My life has gone to up to PhD level. All education, material education, putting on my load on my head. So slowly I am now removing them one by one and trying to learn spiritual things. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada movement, how wonderful it is. Those whoever reads Srila Prabhupada books, they will be definitely taking this very seriously. So we see Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Raghava Swami Guru Maharaj came from Canada and dedicated his life to this ISKCON movement, especially Mayapur. Because of his dedicated service to Mayapur, we see that how much love and affection he has. And the same thing he is carrying, whole Mayapur he is carrying in his heart to whole world. So that is the beauty of our Krishna consciousness movement, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is coming in the line of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the same way, I joined in 2005 in ISKCON Secunderabad by the mercy of Radha Gopinath, Sahadev Prabhu and Madhav Prabhu and Hari Kirtan Prabhu. These are my Siksha Gurus. So I was following them. Later on, Maharaj picked me from Secunderabad and asked me to stay and work in Hebri, Udupi district, Karnataka. So I served almost all 8-10 years there as a pujari and different roles. So because of my parents, I have to relocate myself to near to them. So I am trying to preach there. So these are all wonderful. Krishna consciousness is all wonderful. Parama Karuna Pahu Dui Jana Nitai Gaurachan. So it said, Kebala Ananda Kanda. It's simply we have to release it. Remove the ajnan, by chanting Hare Krishna, we can remove all the hindrances. And we just have to release, just like prasadam, lot of prasadam, Mayapur. So you need to have the capacity to eat, how much you can eat. The same way as you just remove the anardhas by chanting holy name, things will manifest everything. Krishna Prema is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give Krishna Prema. So in this way, just by simply roaming in Mayapur Dham and staying here, taking prasadam, associating with the devotees, every day appreciating Radha Madhav and Asaki and Panchatattva, Prahlad Nrsimhadev, we can turn ourselves into a great devotee. Mahatmanastu mam bhardha daivim prakritim ashritaha. Bhajanti ananya manaso. So we can become a Mahatma, or we can follow in the footsteps of Mahatmas. So I thank His Holiness Srila Bhakti Swami Maharaj, under whose shelter I am able to grow my Bhakti Lata. I pray to all the Vaishnavas also to forgive any of my offenses, and to the Maharaj's lotus feet also, and bless me so that I can advance. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Raghava Swami Nitnamine Namaste Gaura Sevaya Sada Nivittatmane Yuvadav Prabhupada Padartham Varnasrama Pracharane Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. So I thank Sridham Prabhu for giving me this opportunity to glorify Guru Maharaj on his 76th Vyaspuja. So it's very special. It's happening this time in Sridham, Mayapur. Okay, so Mayapur, as all of you know, is an island. It has 9 islands. So we are in the Antardweep, which is Mayapur. So each of the island is for one of the Navavita Bhakti, and one of them is Atma Nivedanam. So Antardeep, the Mayapur, represents Atma Nivedanam. And a very good example for Atma Nivedanam is His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj ki. So he has done a lot of selfless service here in Sridham Mayapur, pioneering the Namahata. Many of us don't know that. Many of the ISKCON devotees, they don't know the fact that it was started by His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj. And door-to-door preaching, okay? And many of the other services, the Bhakti Vedanta youth service, youth preaching in India has flourished a lot. We see a lot of youth interested in Krishna consciousness, Bhakti. Nowadays people, they want to revive our culture, our lost culture. Many people around the globe, they want to revive our tradition, our Sanatana Dharma, and go back to the olden days. So Guru Maharaj has been a pioneer in all of these, and especially cow protection. It's very scientific, the relationship between cows and the land. It's very scientific, and Guru Maharaj has been striving to spread this message all over the world. In fact, he has started this global Varnasrama mission, and he has made things very practical. What was impossible is being possible now, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of Vaishnavas, and by the sincerity and the purity. Purity is the force, as we say. Purity is the force. So it's being made possible. I just want to share a few things, a few pastimes of mine, of Guru Maharaj, and I had few personal association with him. This was during the Kartik month in Kakinada. So we were supposed to assemble in the land which was purchased for the temple construction. And the temple construction is over now. And I was speaking with Ananta Sesh Prabhu. He's the temple president there, His Grace Ananta Sesh Prabhu. And I was appreciating him, a very nice congregation, the devotee care, and everything is very, very excellent there. So I was speaking with Ananta Sesh Prabhu, and he said everything was stagnant. There was no progress at all when they purchased the land, when they did Bhumi Puja, when they installed Ananta Sesh in the land. And he said, after Maharaj visited, everything, was fine, completely okay. Things fall in place, and the construction was over. So that's the purity of Guru Maharaj. That's the purity of a Vaishnava. When nothing was done, Maharaj just came, he gave his blessings, zoom, the temple construction is over. The Sankirtan hall was inaugurated last month on Ram Navami. And recently I had visited Rishikesh. So there's our ISKCON center there, and I visited and I was talking to a few brahmacharis there. And they asked me, whose disciple are you? And I said, I am the disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj. And they were literally shocked. they asked me, "Are you really Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj's disciple?" And I said, "Yes, Prabhu." And they were like, literally, the treatment which they gave me after that was like, they were so nice to me. The hospitality was so great. The way they received me, and it was nice. So that respect is not out of sympathy, okay? Just because Maharaj has done a lot to Sridham Mayapur, and during the attack his leg was blown off. It is not out of sympathy. It is out of respect. Respect has to come from within, right? Yeah. So it's not just out of sympathy. And a devotee who has surrendered fully, only such a devotee can fully surrender himself. Atmanivedanam is not just something simple. It doesn't come just by chanting or just reading. Atmanivedanam comes when we have fully surrendered ourselves, no matter what. And Maharaj has no botheration for his personal comfort. I had the opportunity to travel along with him, during the Govinda Gogram Yatra. So and I've personally seen Maharaj, okay, no botheration for his personal comfort. And he's very punctual every day. I mean, even we gave excuses saying that no, we came back late and, we weren't able to attend Mangala Arati, and the restrooms were, queued up and people were taking bath. But Maharaj is on time. He never misses a single day Mangala Arati. He's been so punctual, as far as I know, and a lot of senior brahmacharis, they tell he's always punctual. He has always been traveling, widely all around the world, and yeah. And this was during my first initiation. So we were all queuing up, and we had to pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and then to Maharaj, and then collect our beads. So I was paying obeisances, and one devotee, just stepped back, and he was about to fall. And Guru Maharaj, his humor sense is just fantastic. So he said, "Hey, when you take Diksha, no falling." That was so humorous, and all the devotees there in the pandal, they started laughing. We were, they all burst in laughter. So, yes, I request all the devotees to pray for the good health and well-being of His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Guru Maharaj, so that the global Varnasrama mission would be achieved very soon, maybe in the near future, in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And Chaitanya Leela is still going on. We are all in the land of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the golden avatar. So Chaitanya Leela is not yet over. As far as Srila Prabhupada's movement is going on, as far as Harinama Sankirtana is going on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas won't end. There's no end to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki! So please offer your prayers to Sri Sri Radha Madhava Panchatattva and Narsimhadev for the well-being of Maharaj and for the Varnasrama mission. Hari Bol.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति राघव स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते गौर सेवायां सदा निवेदितात्मने युवादो प्रभुपादार्थम वर्णाश्रम प्रचारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। तो जब मैंने भक्ति में अपना पूर्ण रूप से समर्पण किया था, उससे पहले मैं जब पढ़ाई करता था तो उस टाइम से मुझे सामाजिक कार्य करना बहुत अच्छा लगता था। तो जब मैंने श्रील प्रभुपाद का भगवद गीता पढ़ा तो प्रभुपाद जी ने बार बार बोला कि अगर आपको समाज का सेवा करना है तो सबसे अच्छा है कि आप किसी को कुछ ऐसा परमानेंट चीज़ दो जो उसका हमेशा और इस लाइफ के भी बाद काम आए। तो प्रभुपाद जी ने बोला आप किसी को अगर हरिनाम दे देते हो, भगवान के बारे में बता देते हो तो उसके लिए वो परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन हो जाता है यहाँ से जन्म मृत्यु के चक्कर से निकलने के लिए। तो मैं वहाँ से श्रील प्रभुपाद से इंस्पायर हुआ और दास गदाधर प्रभु जी और केशवानंद प्रभु के अंडर में मैं सेवा करना शुरू किया रांची से। इसके बाद फिर हमने वहाँ से एक गुरुकुल में शिफ्ट हुआ इसके बाद हमें ये संशय होता था कभी कि हम जो सेवा कर रहे हैं इससे क्या सच में हम यहाँ से लिबरेट हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे पास कोई गुरु नहीं था उस टाइम। तो जब तक हमारे जीवन में कोई गुरु नहीं होता है और उनका मार्गदर्शन नहीं होता है, हमें वो पूर्ण रूप से विश्वास नहीं होता है, आत्मविश्वास नहीं होता है कि हम जो कर रहे हैं वो सही है या गलत है। तो ऐसे जब सेवा चल रहा था, हम मंदिर में सेवा करते थे, हम लोग भोग लगाते थे, प्रसाद लेते थे और सो जाते थे, मतलब ज़्यादा सेवा नहीं होता था। तो इसके बाद एक समय आया कि जब गुरु महाराज हमारे आश्रम में आने वाले थे गुरुकुल में, तो जब गुरु महाराज को मैंने पहली बार देखा था तो रियली आई वाज शॉक। मैं सच में बहुत चौकन्ना रह गया, क्योंकि हमारे पास सब कुछ होते हुए भी हम केवल क्या कर रहे हैं, मंदिर में सुबह में 4 बजे उठ रहे हैं। हमको इसका प्राउड होता है कि हम 4:30 बजे डेली उठते हैं। हमें ऐसा पहले से था। जब महाराज को देखा तो हमारा यह अहंकार ही टूट गया। क्यों? क्योंकि एक ऐसा व्यक्ति जिसका उम्र 75 साल हो गया है और उसके पास फिजिकली केवल एक ही पैर है, वो पूरा विश्व में घूम घूम के वर्णाश्रम धर्म का प्रचार कर रहा है। जनरली हम लोग क्या करते हैं, थोड़ा आसान होता है कि हम किसी को हरे कृष्णा मूवमेंट बताते हैं, बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करते हैं, लेकिन हम जब किसी को बोलते हैं कि वर्णाश्रम धर्म तो वो कन्फ्यूज हो जाता है। उसको हमको बताना पड़ता है कि वर्णाश्रम क्या है। तो महाराज वैसे चीज़ का प्रचार कर रहे हैं जिसको आज के टाइम में इवन डिवोटी भी बहुत लोग बोलते हैं कि नहीं, ये हमारे लिए ज़रूरत नहीं है, हम ऐसा करना ज़रूरत है ही नहीं हमारे लिए। तो जब महाराज को देखा तो हमने उस टाइम से शपथ लिया कि हमें थोड़ा सा और इंथुजियाज्म लगा के जो हम लोग एक गुरुकुल चला रहे हैं, इससे हमको और गुरुकुल बना के प्रचार करना पड़ेगा, तभी हमारा ये जो जीवन है वो सफल हो पाएगा। क्योंकि हमारे पास सब कुछ है तो हम इससे भी ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं। उस टाइम मैंने एक चीज़ सोचा कि हमको अपने जीवन में अगर भक्ति का कार्य करना है तो उसको थोड़ा रिस्क लेकर करना पड़ेगा। अगर हम हमारी जो कैपेसिटी है अगर उसको अगर नहीं पहचानेंगे तो हम क्या होंगे, अपने आप को केवल एक सीमित अवस्था में रह के ही एक छोटा सा कुछ प्रभुपाद के लिए कर सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर हमें प्रभुपाद के लिए, गुरु महाराज के लिए कुछ बड़ा करना है तो हमको रिस्क लेना पड़ेगा। यही मैंने सीखा था जब महाराज को मैंने पहली बार देखा। और महाराज की कृपा से मुझे जो परशुराम गुरुकुल है जो हेब्री में है उसमें सेवा करने का मौका मिला। मैंने वहाँ पे एक चीज़ सीखा था कि मैंने वहाँ पे देखा डेडिकेशन क्या होता है। मतलब अगर गुरुकुल को एस्टैब्लिश करना है तो अगर उस सारा चैलेंज को जब तक हम डिफीट नहीं करेंगे, हम गुरुकुल का स्थापना आसानी से नहीं कर सकते हैं। एक बार की बात है, एक इंसिडेंट हुआ जब हम लोग हेब्री में थे महाराज के साथ। वहाँ पे जब सेवा करते थे, वहाँ पे बहुत सारे स्नेक्स रहते हैं। आप जब जाएंगे वहाँ पे तो पेड़ों से भी ऐसा सांप उड़ते हुए ऐसा घरों में गिर जाते हैं या आपके पास गिर जाएंगे। महाराज वहाँ पे जिस कुटीर में रहते थे उस कुटीर में एक दिन उनके बगल में एक बहुत बड़ा सांप गिरा था, बहुत बड़ा। उसको देख के कोई डिवोटी उधर रहने का सोचता नहीं। बट हम लोग महाराज से इस चीज़ से इंस्पायर हुए कि महाराज हर एक डिफ़िकल्टी को सहने को तैयार हैं, क्योंकि उनको गुरुकुल का स्थापना करना है। अब जैसा कल महाराज जी ने बताया कि एक्चुअली में हमारा उतना औकात नहीं है कि हम लोग गुरुकुल स्थापित करें। ऑलरेडी पहले से 7 लाख गुरुकुल था, बस हमको उसको रिवाइव करना है, हमको उसको पुनर्स्थापित करना है। तो महाराज जी का कृपा है। और महाराज जी जब झारखंड में रहे हमारे साथ तो महाराज जी से हम लोग ने बहुत सारे सवाल जवाब किए। तो उन्होंने बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जो गुरुकुल को कैसे आगे बढ़ा सकती है हमने डिस्कस, हमारे साथ महाराज ने डिस्कस किया। और एक इंसिडेंट बताना चाहता हूँ कि कैसे एक गुरुकुल का एक बच्चा अगर चाहे तो वो अपने परिवार को बदल सकता है। दिस इज़ माई पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस, ठीक है। ये हमारा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है कि हमने सामने से देखा है कि एक गुरुकुल का बच्चा अपने पूरे परिवार को बदल सकता है। वो मैं आपको शेयर करना चाहता हूँ। तो हमारा गुरुकुल जो झारखंड में है वहाँ पे एक परिवार है, वो प्रोफेशनली जो प्रभु जी हैं वो ऑटो चलाते हैं, ठीक है। तो जब हमारा गुरुकुल वहाँ पे खुला तो वो प्रभु जी एक ही सेवा करते थे कि जहाँ स्टेशन होता है वहाँ से गुरुकुल में जो डिवोटीज आते हैं बाहर से उनको पहुँचाते हैं। ऐसा कंटिन्यूअसली वो कर रहे। जब उन्होंने देखा कि गुरुकुल खुल गया तो उनके 4 बच्चे को उन्होंने वहाँ पे एडमिशन किया। ठीक है, 4 बच्चे को एडमिशन किया। तो एडमिशन होता है तो हमारे इधर होता है कि हम 1 साल में उनको 3 महीना के लिए घर भेज देते हैं। 1 महीना के लिए, सॉरी 1 महीना के लिए घर भेजते हैं। तो बच्चे यहाँ से जब पढ़ के गए घर में, तो वो घर में वो जो सारा टेम्पल का शेड्यूल होता है, गुरु का शेड्यूल होता है, उसको फॉलो कर रहे हैं। वहाँ पे वो 4:30 बजे मंगल आरती कर रहे हैं, फिर वो जो गुरु पूजा है वो कर रहे हैं। तो इससे क्या हुआ, उस परिवार के लोग इतने प्रभावित हुए। एक्चुअली मैं बैकग्राउंड बताना भूल गया। उससे पहले जब बच्चे का एडमिशन नहीं हुआ था, उससे पहले उसके जो पिता थे, हो सकता है उधर भी इधर भी हो, ठीक है, वो नशा करते थे, टाइम पे नहीं आते थे। मतलब एक तरह से उनका व्यवहार या हर एक चीज़ सबके साथ रिलेशनशिप बहुत ख़राब था। थोड़ा ड्रिंकिंग भी करते थे और भी जो चीज़ें वो करते थे। लेकिन जब से उन्होंने देखा कि हमारे बच्चे घर में छुट्टियों में आए हुए हैं और वो सुबह से मंगल आरती कर रहे हैं, भगवान को भोग लगा के प्रसाद ग्रहण कर रहे हैं, तब से उन्होंने इतना प्रभावित हुआ कि एक दिन उन्होंने मुझे कॉल किया और दो फर्स्ट वर्ड, उनका पहला शब्द क्या था पता है? आपको भी आश्चर्य होगा। उन्होंने फ़ोन किया तो एक ही वर्ड बोला, प्रभु जी मेरा घर स्वर्ग बन गया है। वो ऐसा व्यक्ति जो नशा में हमेशा रहता था, वो क्या बोल रहा है? हमारा घर स्वर्ग बन गया है। क्यों? क्योंकि बच्चे ने उनको दिखाया कि हाँ ऐसा लाइफ होता है, गुरुकुल में ऐसा होता है। उस दिन से वो परिवार के जो मुखिया, जो उनके पिता हैं, उन्होंने सारा कुछ जो भी गलत चीज़ें होती थी या करते थे, नशा करना वगैरह, रिलेशनशिप को मेंटेन नहीं रखना, वो सारा उन्होंने छोड़ दिया। और 1 साल तक माला वगैरह जप करते हुए उनका जो बच्चे का मम्मी है, उन्होंने लास्ट टाइम में उन्होंने महाराज से ही दीक्षा लिया। हरि बोल। तो ये होता है कि अगर कोई गुरुकुल का में बच्चा पढ़ता है तो वो अपने आचरण से परिवार को और उसके आसपास के लोगों को प्रचार करता है हरिनाम के लिए। तो एक्चुअली में गुरुकुल में बहुत शक्ति है और महाराज की कृपा से हमने 2018 में पहला गुरुकुल खोला था और आज भगवान की कृपा से 16th गुरुकुल खुल गया है। हरि बोल। हिज होलीनेस भक्ति राघव स्वामी महाराज की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल।
गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दास तृणापेक्षा तीना। गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दास तृणापेक्षा तीना। गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दास तृणापेक्षा। सकल सहने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहाहीना। 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 गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दासे तृणापेक्षा तीना। गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो दास तृणापेक्षा। सकले सम्मान करिते सकति देहनाथ जाथा जाथा। सकले सम्मान करिते सकति देहनाथ जाथा जाथा। तबे तो गाइब हरि नाम सुखे। তবে তো গাইব হরি নাম সুখে, তবে তো গাইব
হরি নাম সুখে।
অপরাধ হবে হাত, অপরাধ
হবে হত।
গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এই দাসে তৃণপে খাতি না। গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু করো এই দাসে তৃণপে খাতি না। যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায়, তোমারা করুণা সারা। 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 করুণা না হইলে কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া, করুণা না হইলে কান্দিয়া, করুণা না হইলে কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া, করুণা না হইলে কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া। প্রাণ না রাখিব আর, প্রাণ না রাখিব। গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এই দাসে তৃণপে খাতি না। গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এই দাসে তৃণপে খাতি না। জয় গুরুদেবা জয় গুরুদেবা, গুরুদেবা জয় গুরুদেবা,
জয় গুরুদেবা জয় গুরুদেবা, গুরুদেবা জয় গুরুদেবা।
হরে কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে।
হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে, হরে রাম 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 হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ
কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে হরে, হরে রাম রাম হরে হরে।
রাধে 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 গোবিন্দ, রাধে 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 গোবিন্দ, বলো রাধে 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 গোবিন্দ, রাধে 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 গোবিন্দ, রাধে 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 গোবিন্দ, রাধে 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 গোবিন্দ,
রাধে রাধে
রাধে রাধে রাধে গোবিন্দ, হরি গোবিন্দ, বলো বলো
হরি গোবিন্দ,
গোবিন্দ হরি গোবিন্দ, গোবিন্দ হরি গোবিন্দ, হরে কৃষ্ণ Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare
Jai Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Gauranitai Jai Gauranitai Let's stand up and dance for some time. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jai Gauranitai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
भक्ति राघव स्वामी महाराज की, भक्ति राघव स्वामी महाराज की।
Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Gurudev kripa bindu diyam koroye dase trina pekhatina. Gurudev kripa bindu diyam koroye dase trina pekhatina. Gurudev kripa bindu diyam koroye dase trina pekha. सकला सहने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहाहीना. सकला सहने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहाहीना. सकल सहने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहाहीना. सकल सहने बल दिया करो निज माने स्पृहाहीना गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ये दासे तृणापेक्षातीना गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ये दासे तृणापेक्षा सकले सम्मान करिते सकति देहनाथ जाता जाता सकले सम्मान करिते सकति देहनाथ जाता जाता तबे तो गाइब हरि नाम सुखे तबे तो गाइब हरि नाम सुखे तबे तो गाइब
हरि नाम सुखे
अपराध विहात अपराध
बेहत
गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ये दासे तृणापेक्षातीना गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु करो ये दासे तृणापेक्षातीना योग्यता विचारे किछु नाही पाए तुम्हारा करुणा सारा योग्यता विचारे किछु नहीं पाए तुम्हारा करुणा योग्यता विचारे किछु नहीं पाए तुम्हारा करुणा सारा योग्यता विचारे किछु नहीं पाए तुम्हारा करुणा ना हेले कांदिया कांदिया करुणा ना हेले कांदिया करुणा ना हेले कांदिया कांदिया करुणा ना हेले कांदिया कांदिया प्राण न राखिब आर प्राण न राखिब गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ये दासे तृणापेक्षातीना गुरुदेव कृपा बिंदु दिया करो ये दासे तृणापेक्षातीना जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा
जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
राधे राधे गोविंदा बोलो राधे 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 गोविंदा 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 हरि गोविंदा बोलो बोलो हरि गोविंदा गोविंदा हरि गोविंदा गोविंदा हरि गोविंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे
जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय Let's stand up and dance for some time. जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे
कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम
भक्ति राघव स्वामी महाराज की भक्ति राघव स्वामी महाराज की
हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम
राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे
हरे हरे कृष्णा Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Hari Bol. Srila Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj ki jai.
अंदर కూర్చోండి, सब लोग बैठ सकते हैं. So let's welcome everybody and start this program.
Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatcha Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavan Ebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The good fortune of being in Calcutta in Prabhupada's time, 1975, 76. At that time, His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami was a brahmachari at that time in Mayapur, and he was serving. So we knew each other a little bit. I was more in Calcutta. I was doing preaching there, life membership. Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, he was out here in Mayapur, and he was doing Namhata preaching, the pioneering, the Namhata preaching. He was a real pioneer. He really sacrificed everything for going out there and preaching in the villages. You can see there's an early Back to Godhead magazine. An article was written by Anakadumbabi Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा. नाम हट्ट प्रचार में महाराज ने शुरुआत किया था. बैक टू गॉडेड भगवत दर्शन जो पत्रिका है उसमें एक आर्टिकल, एक लेख भी छपा था इसके बारे में.
So Anakadumbabi Prabhu, he was a pujari here. He was from the UK, and so he wrote an article anyway about Maharaj, and it was called "The Lame Can Cross Mountains."
तो एक यहाँ के जो पुजारी थे
Anakadumbabi.
अनेक दुंदुबी प्रभु थे. वो यहाँ पुजारी थे. उन्होंने एक लेख लिखा था कि एक जो पंगु है वो भी पर्वत को पार कर सकता है.
So he was telling about how Maharaj was preaching in the villages there, despite his handicapness physically, but spiritually he was very strong and very determined.
देख सकते हैं कि महाराज कितने निश्चय करके थे कि कितने स्ट्रांग, महाराज कितने स्ट्रांग हैं कि उनके शारीरिक, उन्होंने जो शारीरिक जो उनकी सीमितताएं हैं उसके बावजूद भी महाराज जो हैं इतना बड़ा चीज़ चालू किए.
So His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj has been something of a visionary. In other words, he's been looking to the future and thinking about the future.
परम पूज्य भक्ति राघव महाराज जो हैं एक विजनरी हैं, वो भविष्य को देख सकते हैं, जो अभी नहीं है उसको भविष्य में भी देख सकते हैं.
And it's something which we all need to do. We need to see the situation on the planet and how the world is becoming more and more, everything is deteriorating so much.
ये हम सबको सीखना चाहिए कि कैसे दुनिया में कैसे हमको प्रचार करना है. जैसे देखिए दुनिया की स्थिति है दिन ब दिन बिगड़ती ही जा रही है.
Young people leave the villages to go to the factories.
जवान लोग अपने घर को छोड़ के, गांव को छोड़ के फैक्ट्री में जो है जाके काम करते हैं.
And the result is there's no young people left in the villages anymore to grow rice, to plant the rice and to cultivate the fields and take care of the cows.
नतीजा ये हुआ कि चावल उगाने के लिए गांव में कोई नहीं है, गाय को संभालने के लिए कोई नहीं है, गांव में सुनसान पड़ा हुआ है.
Maharaj is thinking about how to provide for the people in the future.
महाराज सोच रहे हैं कि आगे की पीढ़ियों के लिए उनका खाना पीना, उनका सब आगे का बंदोबस्त कैसे होगा, महाराज अभी से सोच रहे हैं.
You know, we used to be able to buy potatoes for 1 or 2 rupees. Now it's 10-15 rupees a kilo.
पहले 1 रुपये किलो आलू मिलता था, अभी 15 रुपये किलो मिल रहा है.
And it's going to go up every day.
और हर दिन ये बढ़ ही रहा है.
The prices are not going down, they're all going up.
कीमत घट थोड़ी रहा है, बढ़ ही रहा है.
How will we ever be able to feed the people?
दुनिया के लोगों को खाना कहाँ से मिलेगा कल?
But actually we have land, but we're not using it.
हमारे पास जमीन है लेकिन हम उसको यूज नहीं कर रहे हैं.
We're thinking only about sense gratification.
हम केवल भोगों में लिपटे हुए हैं.
We want to get mobile phones and to watch movies all day.
हमको मोबाइल फ़ोन चाहिए, दिन भर हमको मूवी पिक्चर देखने के लिए फ़ोन चाहिए.
And so the influence of Kali Yuga becoming very strong, people becoming lazy and more ignorant.
तो हम देख सकते हैं कलयुग का प्रभाव कि आदमी कैसे मोबाइल फ़ोन यूज कर रहा है, मूवी देख रहा है, आलसी बन रहा है और अज्ञानी बन रहा है.
But the most pious profession is to do farming, to take care of the land and the cows.
ये सबसे अच्छा पुण्य का काम है कि आदमी खेती करे और गाय संभाले.
Right? Lord Krishna had a flute for calling the cows, and Lord Balaram had a plow.
कृष्ण भगवान के पास मुरली था गाय बुलाने के लिए, और बलराम जी के पास हल था खेत को चलाने के लिए.
So they came to show us what we need to do in this Kali Yuga.
कृष्ण बलराम आए ये दिखाने के लिए कि कलयुग में हमको क्या करना है.
We need to farm, we need to grow food.
हमको खेती करना होगा, खाना उगाना होगा.
We cannot just simply go to the shops and purchase all the time.
हर समय आप जाके दुकान से खरीद के लाइएगा तो चलेगा नहीं आगे जाके.
I was in Malaysia, and one couple who were disciples of Maharaj, they were telling me Maharaj was coming to their home, but he had told them that I will only eat what you grow.
मलेशिया महाराज गए थे, महाराज जी गए थे, तो उन्होंने वहाँ सुना कि एक बार वहाँ पे परम पूज्य भक्ति राघव महाराज गए थे, तो उन्होंने उनको कहा कि मैं वही खाऊंगा जो तुम उगाओगे, जो बाहर से खरीद के लाए हम नहीं खाएंगे.
So when I heard that, I thought this is really very nice. This is a wonderful example.
मैं जब सुना तो मुझे लगा कि ये सबसे बढ़िया चीज़ है, इतना आश्चर्यजनक उदाहरण है ये तो.
You want Maharaj to eat your food, you grow it yourself.
आप लोगों को कह रहे कि अगर आपको महाराज को खाना खिलाना है तो खुद उगाइएगा.
Then you cook it and offer to Maharaj.
और उसको बना के फिर आप महाराज जी को दीजिएगा.
This is the nice example, wonderful example which Maharaj shows.
महाराज ने इतना अच्छा उदाहरण प्रस्तुत किया है दुनिया को दिखाने के लिए.
He's encouraging all of his disciples to do what we need to do to cultivate the land.
हम उनके सारे शिष्यों को सिखा रहे हैं कि हमको ये करना ही होगा, जमीन को खेती करना ही होगा हमको.
Don't just go to the factories and think about making money.
फैक्ट्री में जाके पैसा नोचने का खाली मत सोचो.
You cannot eat rupees.
पैसा खाओगे क्या?
The rupees value less and less and less.
पैसा का वैल्यू कम हो जाएगा.
Right? We used to come, I remember going to Radhakund, and they would give you all the coins, paisas. and we would go and put 10 paisa like that.
राधा कुंड में जाते थे, 10-10 पैसा हम लोग वहाँ पे देते थे, याद है?
Where is 10 paisa today?
आज 10 पैसा कहाँ है?
Even 10 rupees today.
10 रुपया का भी कोई वैल्यू नहीं.
You won't even get the rickshaw for 10 rupees.
10 रुपये में रिक्शा वाला भी नहीं उठाएगा.
So this is the situation.
ये हालत है.
We need to understand, take care of the land, grow food ourselves, don't depend on others.
ये समझ लो कि अपना खाना खुद उगाना है, दूसरे पे निर्भर मत रहो, खुद उगाओ और खुद खाओ.
And Prabhupada wanted so much that we would take care of the cows and grow nice food.
और प्रभुपाद इतना चाहते थे कि आप लोग गाय संभालना और अपना खाना खुद उगाना.
When Prabhupada would go to visit some of our farming communities, the devotees would bring the vegetables they were growing. Prabhupada would be so pleased.
जब प्रभुपाद किसी कृषि क्षेत्र में जाते थे और वहाँ पे भक्त लोग अपना उगा के प्रभुपाद जी को ला के देते थे, प्रभुपाद जी बहुत प्रसन्न होते थे.
He wanted us to do these things. It's so important for the world.
प्रभुपाद जी चाहते थे कि हम ये सब करें क्योंकि दुनिया के लिए बहुत जरूरी है. बात समझिए.
So I'm very grateful to Maharaj for emphasizing the need for these things today in this world.
मैं महाराज का बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ कि उन्होंने ये चीज़ के ज़रूरत को लोगों को कैसे गहराई से समझा दिया है कि क्या ज़रूरत है आज के समाज की.
And we need to do it ourselves, you know, we need to go out there, go in the fields and get our hands dirty with the soil of the earth.
और ये खुद करना है, किसी दूसरे को करने के लिए मत बोलिए. जाके खुद जाइए खेत में, जरा मिट्टी लगाइए हाथ में, हाथ गंदा होगा तब आप समझिए कि आप सही काम किए हैं. ये नहीं कि सुन के बोल दीजिए किसी को जाके.
Grow some nice vegetables to offer to Krishna.
कुछ बढ़िया सब्जी उगाइए, कृष्णा को वो सब खिलाइए.
Of course, it's not easy. It's hard work.
ये आसान थोड़ी है, बहुत कठिन है, मेहनत का काम है.
And sometimes it seems like you're not getting much result.
कभी-कभी ज़्यादा निकलेगा भी नहीं उसमें से.
You have to spend so much time to take care, to water and to weed.
इतना समय लगता है, उसको पानी दीजिए, उसका घास निकालिए, बहुत टाइम लगता है सब करने में.
It's so easy for us just to go to the shop and purchase.
कितना आसान है, दुकान में जाओ, पैसा दो, ले आओ.
Especially when we come from the West, we think 1 rupee we get 77 rupees. $1 we get 77 rupees.
हम जब अमेरिका से आते हैं इधर पाश्चात्य देश से $1 देते हैं, 77 हो जाता है, तो और आसान दिखता है.
And when we go to market, we think, oh, very cheap.
बहुत सस्ता है, बहुत सस्ता है.
And Prabhupada would call us, he said, Dam cheap Baba.
प्रभुपाद हम लोग को धाम सस्ता बाबा बोलते थे.
We would think cheap. Prabhupada said, you paid 3 times the price.
प्रभुपाद हम लोग कुछ खरीद के लाते थे सस्ते में, हम लोग को लगता था बहुत सस्ते में लिए. प्रभुपाद अरे तुमको ठग लिया, 3 गुना लिया तुमसे.
So if we don't want to be cheated, we should go in the garden, go in the fields ourselves, and grow the vegetables, produce some nice fruits and nice vegetables, we can grow grains also. We have to learn how to do these things.
अगर आपको ठगाना नहीं है तो अपने से जाइए, खेत में उगाइए, उगा के जब लेके आइए तब आप अपना चीज़ अपने से उगाना सीखिए.
So I'm very grateful to Maharaj that he's really emphasizing this kind of lifestyle and he's encouraging this for all the devotees.
मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ कि महाराज जी इस तरह के जीवन शैली को सिखा रहे हैं और भक्तों को प्रेरित कर रहे हैं कि सब लोग इसमें जुड़िए.
It's a very nice example and it's very much needed more and more.
बहुत ही बढ़िया उदाहरण खुद प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं और बहुत जरूरी है. जैसे से दिन बढ़ रहा है, बहुत बहुत जरूरी है सब.
Prabhupada told us, don't think this modern society will go on forever the way it is.
प्रभुपाद ने कहा ये दुनिया और ये आधुनिक सभ्यता ज्यादा दिन नहीं चलेगा.
It's all going to fall apart.
ये सब टूट के बिखर जाएगा आधुनिक सभ्यता.
It's already happening in front of our eyes, but we're not seeing it.
हमारे आँख के सामने हो रहा है, आपको दिख नहीं रहा है.
We have to understand the urgency. It's really important for us. Get some land, grow some food, take care of your own basic needs.
ये बहुत आकस्मिक चीज है कि अब बस जमीन लीजिए और अपना खाना उगाइए, अब समय नहीं बचा है.
And this will be very pleasing to Maharaj and to all the devotees and to Lord Krishna also.
ये महाराज को प्रसन्न करेगा, भक्तों को प्रसन्न करेगा, कृष्ण को प्रसन्न करेगा.
Okay, thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Maharaj, for encouraging all of us how important it is to grow. Maharaj has written a book, Make Vrindavan Villages. He has put a nice, I think, Prabhupada's quote in that book. Produce what you need, eat what you produce. It's a Prabhupada's quote. Maharaj always reminds this. We thank you, Maharaj, for reminding all of us. Now we have a small unveiling the Surabhi Mantra box, specially designed so that will be Maharaj encourages all of us to put it in Goshala in your homes everywhere. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama.
We are just launching today. You can. We lost our translator. We are launching today what is called the Surabhi Mantra.
अरे आज सुरभि का जो मंत्र है इसका विमोचन हुआ है.
Many devotees in ISKCON know about the Prabhupada mantra chanting Hare Krishna.
प्रभुपाद मंत्र का मशीन है, आप लोग देखे होंगे, बहुत लोगों के पास होगा भी. हरे कृष्णा मंत्र प्रभुपाद जी का बजता है.
I was just mentioning to Maharaj that here in India there is a Goshala, the largest Goshala in the world. They have between 1 lakh and 3 lakhs of cows.
भारत में गौशाला जहाँ 1 लाख से 3 लाख गायें.
On the corner, on the border of Gujarat and Rajasthan, Patmeda.
पथमेड़ा गौशाला है जो गुजरात और राजस्थान के बॉर्डर पे.
Their Mangalarati is Mangalarati to Mother Cow.
उनका जो मंगल आरती होता है गाय के लिए होता है.
And they constantly play this Surabhi mantra, which is actually from Shastra.
ये सुरभि मंत्र जो है शास्त्रों में बताया गया है कि जो गौशालाओं में बजता है तो ज़्यादा अच्छा होता है.
So the first time I went there quite some years ago, I came to know about the Surabhi mantra.
पहली बार जब मैं बहुत साल पहले गया था तो मुझे ये पहली बार ही पता चला है मंत्र के बारे में.
And we gradually, actually, the devotees singing are from Bali, Indonesia. They are like a very good, Indonesia devotees are very good singers actually.
बाली इंडोनेशिया में कुछ भक्त हैं जो गाने में वहाँ के भक्त लोग ऐसे भी बड़े माहिर होते हैं.
So on this occasion, since Maharaj has been very kind to attend our program and to unveil this Surabhi mantra, I would like to offer him the first.
आज पहली बार ये विमोचन में मैं उनको ये गिफ्ट देना चाहूँगा महाराज को. हरि बोल. आपके पास गौशाला की जरूरत नहीं है, आप ऐसे भी लगा सकते हैं.
And this is some cow product.
और ये प्रभुपाद जी की तरफ से.
Hare Krishna. This is a special handmade chanting bag. This is devotees have grown their cotton and
ये स्पेशल
made the cloth and stitched the chanting bag.
इसका जो कपास है भक्तों ने अपने से उगाया है, उसको बनाया है कपास को अपने से, और ये बीड बैग अपने से बनाया है, सिया भी खुद से है. ये पूरा का पूरा तरह हस्त निर्मित है.
हरि बोल.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, we have also given some special gifts. It's a handmade cloth. The cloth, the given Uttariya. It's actually, there's a devotee, a couple of devotees working from Amshu. Maharaj inspired. This is the cloth. Like Prabhupada wants food, shelter and clothing. Three things to be sustainable. This one vertical which is working on cloth, just from scratch of growing Indian cotton and just weaving with handmade and hand woven and naturally colored. So it's a very special cloth made by devotees who are chanting 16 rounds every day in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's made by devotees.
एक भक्त हैं अमसु प्रभु हैं यहाँ पे, वो 16 माला जप करते हैं. उन्होंने कपास उगाया है और उगा के भक्ति भाव से इसको बनाया है. और ये रोटी कपड़ा मकान जो 3 चीज़ होता है हमारी ज़रूरतों के लिए, उसमें से एक है कपड़ा. तो कपड़े को उन्होंने अपना जो उगा के दिखा दिया.
Not only are they making bead bags, and the devotees actually making this cloth have already supplied many of our temples the murti of Srila Prabhupada, complete set of cloth, natural cloth.
प्रभुपाद जी के मूर्तियों के लिए वो कपड़े भी भेजते हैं. और इसका जो रंग है, रंग को भी वो लोग खुद उगा के बनाते हैं. रंग भी बाजार से नहीं खरीदते हैं. इसमें रंग भी जो है नेचुरल है.
And now the latest also we should have had, that should be part of a demonstration here. The latest, which is part of this initiative, is that Ananta Tirtha Prabhu, who's heading up this project, is training some of our Gurukul boys to make this thread with the idea of reviving the ancient culture where Brahmanas used to make their own thread. So we will supply all the sannyasis in ISKCON with this thread, beginning with Maharaj.
महाराज कह रहे हैं कि जितने ये जो पारंपरिक रूप से वो जो है उसको बनाया जाता है, तो ब्राह्मण लोग उसको जो सूत बना के उसको जो कपड़ा बनाते हैं, तो ये हम कल्चर को फिर से सभ्यता को लाना चाहते हैं. तो हमने शुरुआत किया है. तो सबसे बड़े ब्राह्मण जो महाराज जी हैं, महाराज जी को हमने दिया है.
Hari Bol.
हरि बोल.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your time. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Bhakti Bhari Devi Satyavachai Namaha. Vansha Kopatrabhischa Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namaha. So before speaking, I beg to offer Ananta Koti Shastanga Vaishnav Pran to my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada and to His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj. So we're very fortunate to be gathered here together in this Avirbhav Mahatiti Mahamotsav of His Holiness. And I would like to say something more in philosophical line of why we're gathered here today.
मैं यहाँ पे कुछ सैद्धांतिक रूप से कुछ चीज़ें कहूँगा कि हम यहाँ क्यों जमा हुए हैं.
Srila Jiva Goswami has stated that understanding Guru Tattva is the most difficult.
श्रील जीव गोस्वामी कहते हैं कि गुरु तत्व को समझना सबसे कठिन है.
We sing in the morning Sakshat Duritena Samasta Shasta Ruktastata Bhavyata Eva Sadbhi Kintu Prabhoya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guroshi Charanarvindam. Shastra and Sadhu says that Guru is as good as God.
शास्त्र में बताया गया कि गुरु जो है भगवान के बराबर है.
A skeptical person may say, how is he God?
कोई भगोड़ा सोचेगा कि ये कैसे भगवान है.
He also gets old, he has to eat, he has to sleep, sometimes he gets sick, sometimes he may make a mistake.
उनको खाना पड़ता है, सोते हैं, कभी-कभी बीमार भी पड़ जाते हैं, तो कैसे भगवान हो सकते हैं.
Bhagavatam also says, Sachaya mam vijaniyam navamanyeti karichat namatya buddha suyeta sarva deva maya guru. That guru means he's the sum total of all devatas. Krishna says, I'm this person, I'm Acharya. Acharya mam vijaniyam.
भागवतम तो यहाँ तक कहता है कि सारे देव गुरु में विद्यमान हैं.
So how are we to rectify these two apparently contradictory principles?
इस विरोधाभास को कैसे हम समानांतर करेंगे.
Kintu, one word reveals the truth of this mantra.
किंतु का मतलब है यहाँ इसी में सारा राज छिपा हुआ है.
So he is as good as God, but he's the beloved servant of the Lord.
वो भगवान के ही जैसे हैं, लेकिन भगवान के सेवक हैं.
There's Sevya Bhagavan and Sevaka Bhagavan, the Lord who is served and the servant of the Lord.
सेव्य भगवान और सेवक भगवान, जो एक भगवान है जो सेवा लेते हैं, दूसरे भगवान जो सेवा देते हैं.
So how are we to understand Sevaka Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through the vehicle and mercy of Sevaka Bhagavan, the servitor, the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead?
तो कैसे हम समझ सकते हैं इनको? ये कहते हैं कि ये सेवा करने वालों के सबसे बड़े हैं.
Who can speak with the Lord? Who can see the Lord? Who can take direct instruction from the Lord? Nobody can.
कौन देख सकता है भगवान को? कौन भगवान से बात कर सकता है? कौन भगवान से सीधा बात सुन के हमको बता सकता है? कोई नहीं कर सकता.
So how do we approach him?
तो इसलिए कैसे भगवान को हम मिलेंगे?
Tadvidhi pranipatina pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. If you want to be a seer and knower of the Lord, you have to approach that person who knows the Lord, who has a relationship with the Lord.
अगर आपको भगवान देखना है तो ऐसे व्यक्ति के पास जाना होगा जिसने भगवान को देखा है.
And that is Sri Guru.
और वो श्री गुरु हैं.
Therefore Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sang, Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite par, tomara shakati ache, ame to kangal, Krishna Krishna bole, dae tava pache pache. That Krishna is yours and you have the power to give him to me.
भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर कहते हैं कि कृष्ण से तुम्हार, कृष्ण देते पर, आप कृष्णा तो आपका है और कृष्णा आप ही कृष्णा को हमको दे सकते हैं.
And this is the most extraordinary power of Krishna Bhakti, that the Lord is conquered, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute Supreme Controller is conquered by the infinitesimal Jiva soul by love and Bhakti.
जो परम भगवान हैं वो कैसे जीते जा सकते हैं? एक छोटे से जीव के द्वारा, बस प्रेम और भक्ति के द्वारा.
Krishna becomes the property of his pure devotee.
कृष्ण अपने शुद्ध भक्त के संपत्ति बन जाते हैं.
So Krishna said Tomar, Krishna is yours and Krishna dite par. You can give him to me.
कृष्ण आपके हैं और आप ही कृष्ण हमको दे सकते हैं.
And this is the only way to achieve Krishna Bhakti is through Krishna's pure devotee.
और यही एक ही रास्ता है कृष्ण के पास पहुंचने का, कृष्ण के भक्ति को प्राप्त करने का.
In Srimad Bhagavatam we find a description of the heavenly planets.
भागवतम में तो स्वर्ग के बारे में भी बताया गया है.
How much they're enjoying.
कितना भोग है वहाँ.
We can't imagine the
सकते.
standard of their enjoyment.
भोगों को सोच भी नहीं सकते, कल्पना के बाहर.
But they all know I have to leave someday. I have to die.
लेकिन उन सबको पता है कि एक दिन उनको मरना ही होगा, छोड़ना होगा स्वर्ग.
And they're also fearful. Indra is always fearful. When will the demons come and try and take my Indra asana?
और एक डर रहता है कि असुर लोग कभी भी आके अटैक करके सारा आसन वसन लेके भाग सकते हैं.
So what is the solution?
उपाय क्या है?
Bhagavatam says tasmat gurun prapadyeta jigyasu shreya uttamam shabde pare chandishnatam brahmanya upashamashrayam. The solution to our problems of life, Guru Prapadyeta, surrender to spiritual master, Lord's pure devotee.
यही उपाय यही है कि गुरु के पास जाके आप शरणागत होइए जो कि एक शुद्ध भक्त हैं, और कोई उपाय नहीं.
There is no other way to approach the Lord.
और कोई दूसरा तरीका नहीं भगवान को मिलने का.
So how are we to understand who is pure devotee?
और हम ऐसे कैसे समझेंगे कौन शुद्ध भक्त है?
But from material point of view, oh, he has a material, I have a material body, he has material body. What is the difference?
भौतिक दृष्टि से देखेंगे तो उनको भी एक आंख है जिसे देखते हैं, हमारे को भी एक आंख है जिसे हम, दो आंख है जिसे हम देखते हैं.
You can look at Tulsi Maharani.
तुलसी महारानी को जैसे आप देखिए.
From our mundane vision, we say she is a plant.
तुलसी महारानी तो आंख से एक पेड़ दिखती है, पौधा दिखती है.
She has leaves, she has roots, bark, flowers, chlorophyll, cellulose. She's a plant.
जड़ है, तना है, पत्ता है, क्लोरोफिल है, सेलुलोज है, वो एक प्लांट, एक पेड़ पौधा है.
But is that all Tulsi is? But is that all?
क्या यही तुलसी है?
No. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has sung Samasta Vaikuntha Shiromana Shri, that Srimati Radharani has given the power of arranging all Krishna's Leela Shakti, arranging all the Lord's Leelas, Radha Krishna Leela, in the realm of Vrindavan.
विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर कहते हैं कि राधा रानी ने तुलसी जी को पूरा वैकुंठ का जितना भी सेवा है सबको मालकिन बना के रखा है.
And we pray, Ene Vedanadara Sakhirano Gatakaro Seva Adikoro Diye Koro Nijadasi. Can a plant give us devotion to Krishna? Can she give us bhakti? Can she teach us? Can she bless us to make progress in spiritual life?
क्या एक पौधा आपको भक्ति दे सकता है, आशीर्वाद दे सकता है, कृष्ण के भक्ति में आगे बढ़ा सकता है, कृष्ण का भक्ति दे सकता है? ऐसा हो सकता है कभी? पौधा एक साथ दे सकता है?
One with spiritual vision will understand the situation and surrender to take blessing from Lord's representatives.
जिसको आध्यात्मिक आंख है वो जाके वहाँ पे झुकेगा और झुक के वो आशीर्वाद ले लेगा.
So yes, Guru has material body.
Yes, हाँ, गुरु जी को एक भौतिक शरीर है.
but spiritualized, fully spiritualized by full engagement in the Lord's devotional service.
लेकिन भगवान की सेवा में पूर्ण रूप से लगने के कारण वो पूर्ण रूप से आध्यात्मिक हो चुके हैं.
Srila Prabhupada would say that Guru is principle, not the body, but principle.
प्रभुपाद जी कहते हैं गुरु एक तत्व हैं, एक व्यक्ति ही मत समझिए उनको.
So we sing Guru Mukha Padmavakya Chitete Korya Aikya Arna Korya Mane Asha. That let my consciousness be one with the words emanating from the lotus mouth of my spiritual master.
तो इसलिए कहते हैं कि मेरे चित्त को गुरु के आदेश ही अब दिशा दें और उन्हीं के आदेश से मेरा जीवन चले.
So take these instructions you're getting from His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj to your heart, because it's very important.
इसलिए परम पूज्य भक्ति राघव महाराज के निर्देशों को अपने जीवन में लगाना ही आपके लिए सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है.
We're living in a situation that's very, very tenuous. It can collapse at any moment.
हम ऐसे समय में जी रहे हैं कि कभी भी हड़बड़ा के गिर सकता है सब कुछ.
One thing, in every city in India, how do they get water in your home? How is water coming to your tap?
आप घर में बैठे हैं, पानी कैसे आता है आपके घर में?
There's a big reservoir of water on the top of the building, correct?
घर के ऊपर में एक टंकी होता है, वहाँ से पानी निकल के आता है.
And how does it get there?
और आपके यहाँ तक कैसे आता है?
By electricity.
पावर से आता है, मशीन बिजली से.
And if electricity fails, there's no water.
और जिस दिन बिजली फेल हुआ पानी बंद हो जाएगा.
You can't wash, you can't cook, you can't clean your body, and there'll be riots in the streets in a few days with minus one simple thing everyone's dependent upon, electricity.
खाना पीना कपड़ा धोना सब बंद, लोग रास्ते पे आ जाएंगे, लड़ाई झगड़ा करके मार काट मच जाएगी, बस एक चीज हट जाए, बिजली.
How does food get into the city?
खाना कैसे आता है?
Only with petrol and diesel.
पेट्रोल और डीजल से आता है.
If there's no petrol and diesel, people starve. Without electricity, they'll riot. There's no water.
जहाँ पेट्रोल डीजल बंद तो खाना बंद तो फिर क्या होगा? लड़ाई झगड़ा.
What a fragile, backwards civilization we've created.
कितना थर्ड क्लास पिछड़ा सभ्यता है, आप जरा देख लीजिए.
What is the solution?
उपाय क्या है?
Bhagavatam says, Sarva kama dugama hi, that all man's necessities come from the earth.
भागवतम कहते हैं सर्व काम दुदा में ही, ये जो धरती है सब इच्छा आपका दे सकती है.
The air we breathe comes from the earth. The water we drink comes from the earth. The food we eat comes from the earth. Everything comes from the earth.
जो खाएंगे पिएंगे सब तो धरती उगा सकती है. आप देखिए ना, सब है वहाँ.
Like this beautiful cloth, this amazing, beautiful handmade cloth that I'll cherish for a very long time. We say it's cotton, but what is it actually? It's dirt. It's coming from the earth. All our necessities come from the earth.
ये इतना सुंदर सा एक उतरी है प्रभु जी का, कह रहे कि ये आया कहाँ से? ये तो मिट्टी था, मिट्टी ही जो मिट्टी का धूल था, एक समय धूल था जो मेरे पास कपड़ा बन के जो आया हुआ है.
So take the words emanating from your spiritual master's lotus mouth, take it to heart, and try and preach this and establish these principles that Srila Prabhupada wanted. He said 50% of my mission is only completed, and which means 50% is left undone. Who will take responsibility for that?
अपने गुरु के मुखारविंद से शब्दों को सुनिए और उसको अपने जीवन में अपनाइए. कहते हैं श्रील प्रभुपाद जी कहते हैं कि 50% मेरा काम बाकी रह गया, तो कौन वो 50% लेना चाहेगा?
Those persons who are actual revolutionaries in our ISKCON society, who want to establish these 50% that Srila Prabhupada talked about. He said there's no human society. Human life begins with Varnasrama.
प्रभुपाद जी कहते थे कि ये जो 50% मेरा जो बाकी है कितना महत्वपूर्ण है. मनुष्य का जीवन शुरू होता है जब वर्णाश्रम आदमी पालन करता है.
That human life minus Varnasrama is animal life.
मनुष्य का सभ्यता से वर्णाश्रम निकला कि जानवर की सभ्यता बन जाएगी.
Is that clear enough? Is that difficult to understand?
क्या ये समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं समझ में आ रहा है?
It's very easy to understand.
ये आसान है समझना.
So take the words emanating from the lotus mouth of your spiritual master to heart and follow it and establish it. In due course of time, we're all gone. We're all old men. It's up to you to establish these principles by understanding it and practicing it and living it.
अपने गुरु के मुख से सुनिए, उसको अपनाइए और ये वर्णाश्रम को स्थापित करिए. समय होगा आप इस दुनिया से निकल जाएंगे, लेकिन ये आपके ऊपर है कि इसको स्थापित करके जाएं कि ना जाएं.
So thank you very much for this opportunity to sit in front of you and say some few words in glorification of His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Maharaj.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि मुझे आपके समक्ष बैठ के भक्ति राघव महाराज की प्रशंसा करने के लिए कुछ शब्द कहने का मौका मिला.
Bhakti Raghava Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की निताय गौर निताय निताय गौर थैंक यू
हरि बोल।
नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्य नमने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवं गौरवाणी प्रचरणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चादेशधारिणे हे कृष्ण करुण सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कंत राध कंत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। I would have some association with Maharaj in the 70s when I would come for Gopanim.
मैं 1970 के दशक में कुछ महाराज से मिला था, बहुत पुरानी बात है।
There were so many of us brahmacharis at that time
तब मैं ब्रह्मचारी था
that we would converse with each other, we would talk and like that, but so we never. Well, I only came for 1 month in a year, so I never really got to know any of my godbrothers from overseas very well. But I would see Maharaj from time to time, and we would talk, and then. But in Australia, we all knew that Maharaj had lost his leg in protecting the deities in the temple. So.
जब मैं शुरू में आया था, एकदम नया था, ब्रह्मचारी था उस समय तो लेकिन और महाराज के साथ भी मेरा थोड़ा संग होता था और ज़्यादा नहीं हो पाया, करीब 1 साल रहे। और जब मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में था तो मुझे ये खबर मिला कि महाराज जी का एक पैर जो है वो अब नहीं रहा।
So when we heard that Maharaj lost his leg in protecting the deities, then he became our hero.
जब हमने सुना कि भगवान के विग्रहों को बचाने के लिए महाराज अपने एक पैर की कुर्बानी दे दी तो हमारे हीरो बन गए।
And we all had so much appreciation for Maharaj, for his service and for his commitment.
हम लोगों को इतना अच्छा लगता था महाराज के बारे में सुनने में।
So he was an inspiration to all of us in Australia.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हम लोगों के ये महाराज एकदम प्रेरणा स्रोत थे।
And so I don't know, if we were in Maharaj's position, I don't know if we would have done what Maharaj did to protect the deities.
अगर मैं महाराज की जगह रहता तो शायद भगवान बचते कि नहीं बचते पता नहीं।
So we're all very, very happy.
हम बहुत खुश हैं।
And like in the 70s, it was quite exclusive because Prabhupada was the only guru. And so we all, because we're all disciples of Prabhupada, of one guru, then we all had this heartfelt connection with each other.
वो अलग एक समय था, बस प्रभुपाद जी अकेले गुरु थे, सब प्रभुपाद के शिष्य थे, बड़ा प्रेम का संबंध था सब में।
It was a personal relationship that we all had with each other.
बड़ा व्यक्तिगत सुंदर संबंध था सबका एक दूसरे से।
For example, when we see each other, we would offer our obeisances. We would offer dandavats in the 70s to each other when we saw each other.
जैसे कि 1970 की बात है, जैसे एक दूसरे को देखते थे हम लोग दंडवत करते थे।
So we don't do that anymore.
आजकल हम लोग नहीं करते हैं।
But when Prabhupada was present, we were also inspired and we were also moved, by Prabhupada's
love for us and by what he was giving us. So we all felt like one big family, and we're all, wherever we went in the world, they were our God brothers. So we all felt like one big part of the family. If we go to any country, any temple, anywhere in the world, we felt like that.
जब हम लोग प्रभुपाद जी के साथ रहते थे तो ऐसा लगता था कि प्रभुपाद जी इतना प्यार दे रहे हैं, इतना हमारे ऊपर कृपा कर रहे हैं, लगता था कि हम एक बड़े परिवार का हिस्सा हैं. दुनिया में किसी भी देश में जाओ, कहीं भी जाओ, हम बस एक ही बड़े परिवार में रह रहे हैं.
And it's still like that now. I mean, I can go to any temple anywhere in the world and I'm welcomed as like a family member.
आज भी वही है, किसी भी मंदिर में जाओ वैसे मुझे बुलाते हैं, बड़ा अच्छा लगता है.
So some things haven't changed.
कुछ चीज़ें बदली नहीं.
And I know Maharaj is very much into Varnasrama, and if you read Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada has basically given the ABCs to XYZ of Varnasrama.
अगर आप महाराज जी वर्णाश्रम चालू कर रहे हैं और प्रभुपाद जी के अगर पुस्तकों में आप देखेंगे तो प्रभुपाद जी ने एकदम ABC से लेके XYZ तक, कखा से लेके अंगद तक पूरा लिख दिया है, यरा लवत तक सब लिख दिया क्या करना है.
Everything we need to know about Varnasrama, Prabhupada has given very, very clearly and very, very explicitly.
जो भी वर्णाश्रम के लिए करना है प्रभुपाद जी ने एकदम साफ साफ लिख दिया, कुछ किंतु परंतु नहीं है.
Because without Varnasrama, human society is based on Varnasrama.
हम जो कर रहे हैं मनुष्य के समाज के अंदर जो वर्णाश्रम बनाएंगे, एक दैवी वर्णाश्रम बनेगा.
So yeah, Varnasrama is an organized structure for human society.
तो वैष्णव वर्णाश्रम कहा था प्रभु जी ने, सॉरी, correcting the last statement.
So as Vaishnavas, we follow Devi Varnasrama.
वैष्णव के रूप में हम लोग दैवी वर्णाश्रम को हम लोग अपनाते हैं.
In Devi Varnasrama, Krishna is the center, and everything revolves around Krishna.
देवी वर्णाश्रम में कृष्ण केंद्र में होते हैं और हर चीज कृष्ण के चारों तरफ घूमती है.
Like you take agriculture for example.
जैसे कि आप खेती को लीजिए उदाहरण के तौर पे.
Everything is grown for Krishna.
जो भी है सब कृष्ण के लिए किया जाता है.
In ordinary Varnashram, everything is grown for sale and for people to buy and to eat.
सादे वर्णाश्रम में लोग खाना उगाते हैं, कमाते हैं, पैसा कमाते हैं, जमा करते हैं, बस खत्म हो जाता है.
But in Devi Varnashram, it's for Krishna to eat.
लेकिन देवी वर्णाश्रम में उगाते हैं कृष्ण को खाने के लिए, हर चीज कृष्ण के लिए किया जा रहा है.
So it's a very happy life. When Krishna is eating, he's very happy.
जब कृष्ण खाएंगे तो वो प्रसन्न होंगे.
And so, Krishna is Makhan Chor.
कृष्ण तो माखन चोर हैं.
So he loves butter.
इसलिए वो माखन उनको पसंद है.
So without the cow, how can we feed Krishna?
तो बिना गाय के माखन कहाँ से आएगा, फिर कृष्ण खाएगा क्या?
And without the cow, how can we have Devi Varnashram?
और बिना गाय के देवी वर्णाश्रम क्या बनेगा?
So, for ordinary people, Varnashram is there. But for Vaishnavas, Devi Varnashram is there.
सादे लोग के लिए वर्णाश्रम, वैष्णव के लिए देवी वर्णाश्रम.
And so for Varnashram, like the Brahmin is the head, the Kshatriyas are the arms, the stomach is the Vaishyas, and the legs are the Shudras.
वर्णाश्रम में ब्राह्मण जो हैं सर होते हैं, क्षत्रिय हाथ होते हैं, वैश्य पेट होते हैं, शूद्र उसके पैर होते हैं.
So if a body does not have a head, then it's useless.
अगर शरीर में सर गायब हो तो बेकार दिखेगा.
You can have the arms, you can have the stomach, you can have the legs, but useless.
आपके पास हाथ है, पैर है, पेट है, लेकिन सर ही नहीं तो कैसा लगेगा?
One time, someone asked Prabhupada the question, of what he was doing.
एक बार किसी ने प्रभुपाद से पूछा कि आप कर क्या रहे हैं बताइए.
Prabhupada said, I'm training up Brahmins within society.
मैं ब्राह्मणों को ट्रेनिंग दे रहा हूँ समाज में.
So without the Brahmins, you can't even have a good prasadam without Brahmins.
बिना ब्राह्मणों के अच्छा प्रसाद भी नहीं मिलेगा.
Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if one offers me with love, a leaf, flower, fruit like that, I will accept.
कृष्ण कहते हैं गीता में कि पत्र पुष्प फल ये सब प्रेम से दोगे मैं ले लूँगा.
When Duryodhana invited Krishna for a huge feast, Krishna didn't touch that feast.
जब कृष्ण को बड़े फीस्ट के लिए बुलाया गया, कृष्ण भगवान ने दुर्योधन का जो भोग था स्वीकार नहीं किया.
Yeah. So you know, without the Brahmins who can give proper direction to society, how to cook, how to offer bhoga, how to do anything really, the Brahmins, their duty and their function as the head of society is to give direction to the rest of society.
ब्राह्मणों के बगैर ये भी पता नहीं चलेगा कि बनाना कैसे है, भोग कैसे लगाना है, दिशा निर्देश नहीं रहेगा, समाज किधर जाएगा बिना ब्राह्मणों के.
So this is the biggest problem in modern society, is where are the Brahmins?
आज के समाज में सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत यही कि ब्राह्मण ही नहीं है.
So that's what Prabhupada, that's what he wanted to establish. He wanted to establish where there are Brahmins in the society that can give proper direction to the rest of society.
वही प्रभुपाद चाहते थे कि ब्राह्मण आए जो कि समाज को निर्देशित करें.
He was saying that those people who cannot live without illicit sex, then within the Varnasrama community, there should be one area special for them that they will live, but still function within the Varnasrama society. But these are not Vaishnavas.
जो अवैध संघ के बिना नहीं रह सकते, ऐसे लोग को भी रखना होगा, ऐसे साइड में कहीं कोने में उनको जमा करके, लेकिन वो लोग वर्णाश्रम में रहेंगे लेकिन नहीं रहेंगे, ऐसा कुछ करना पड़ेगा.
So what Prabhupada's vision was to establish Varnasrama all over the world, so anyone and everyone, doesn't matter what status, what social position, what religious level, what spiritual qualifications they have, that everyone could live within a Varnasrama community.
प्रभुपाद जी का था कि दुनिया में जो भी कोई हैं सब लोग इस वर्णाश्रम के अंदर में सब फिट हो जाने चाहिए, कोई भी इसमें बाहर ना रहे.
So this is a very, very broad vision.
बहुत बड़ा विस्तारित दृष्टि है देखने की.
As Vaishnavas, we have, you know, a certain parameters within which we live and within which we act and function.
वैष्णव होने के कारण हमारे पास एक सीमित रेखा होती है कि इसके अंदर ही हम रहेंगे, ये नियम पालन करेंगे.
But Prabhupada also wanted us to include everyone else outside of Vaishnava culture, that they can actually live and have association with Vaishnavas according to their level of development of consciousness.
प्रभुपाद चाहते थे कि जो हमारे दायरे के बाहर जो छूट गए हैं उनको भी अंदर लाने के लिए एक सिस्टम होना चाहिए जो कि एक्चुअली वारणाश्रम है.
Okay, I will stop now. Vanchakalpatarubhisha kripasandabhyavacha patitana pavanebhi vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Maharaj ki jai.
हरिबो. हरिबो.
This is Lord Balaji Prasad from Tirupati Dham.
बालाजी महाराज की जय.
हरे कृष्ण. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. హరే కృష్ణ. చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉంది ఇక్కడ భక్తులందరినీ కూడా చూసి. ముఖ్యంగా భక్తి రాఘవ మహారాజు వారితో నాకు ఉన్నటువంటి చాలా చాలా తక్కువ పరిచయంలో నేను అర్థం చేసుకున్నటువంటిది ఏమిటంటే, మహారాజ్కి ప్రభుపాదుల వారు ఇచ్చినటువంటి ఆ ఉద్యమం ఏదైతే ఉందో, ఏదైతే లక్ష్యం ఉందో, ఆ లక్ష్యాన్ని జీవితకాల ధ్యేయంగా భావించి దృఢమైనటువంటి సంకల్పంతో దానిని ముందుకు తీసుకొని వెళ్తున్నారు.
I'm very happy to be part of these celebrations today. As soon as Bhakti Raghava Maharaj took to the heart all the Prabhupada's instructions and with a great determination is moving forward.
మహారాజు తిరుపతి వచ్చినప్పుడు మొట్టమొదటిసారి మేము కలిసినప్పుడు మహారాజు నుంచి విన్నప్పుడు ఈ వర్ణాశ్రమ ధర్మం గురించి మహారాజు ఒక చక్కటి పవర్ పాయింట్ ప్రజెంటేషన్ చూపించి ప్రభుపాదుల వారి యొక్క అపరిపూర్ణ లక్ష్యం ఇది, దీన్ని పరిపూర్ణం చేయడానికి మనందరం కూడా ఏ విధంగా కృషి చేయాలి అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని మహారాజ్ చెప్పిన తర్వాతనే మాకు అర్థమైంది అనమాట.
So Maharaj came to ISKCON Tirupati. He gave a seminar on Varnasrama Dharma. He told the Prabhupada's unfulfilled mission and he explained how to execute and fulfill Prabhupada's desire.
అప్పటి నుంచి మహారాజు మీద చాలా చాలా అభిమానం అనేటువంటిది ఏర్పడింది. తర్వాత ఆ సందర్భంలోనే మహారాజ్ గారు వారు భగవంతుడిని రక్షించుకోవడానికి, ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి వ్యవస్థను కాపాడుకోవడానికి ఎంత గొప్ప త్యాగం చేశారనేటువంటిది వినిన తర్వాత హృదయంలో మహారాజ్ గారు అంటే ఎంతో ఎంతో ఉన్నతమైనటువంటి సేవాభావన స్థానం ఏర్పడింది అనమాట.
So we developed a lot of affection to Maharaj after hearing those seminars, and also after hearing Maharaj lost his leg for service of Lord, we developed more affection towards Maharaj.
మనం చూడొచ్చు, రెండు కాళ్ళుండి మనం తిరగడానికి ఎంత కష్టపడుతున్నామో, మహారాజ్ గారు ఏమి ఒక వన్ మ్యాన్ ఆర్మీ అన్నట్లుగా ప్రభుపాదుల వారి యొక్క సైనికుడుగా ఎక్కడెక్కడ తిరిగి ఎంతెంత ప్రచారం చేసి ఎంతమందికి ప్రేరేపణిస్తున్నారో నిన్న నేను అక్కడ ఆ దీక్షలు తీసుకునే దగ్గర చూసి మహారాజు వాళ్ళందరినీ అక్కడ పొలంలోకి ఒక తండ్రి బిడ్డలు తీసుకెళ్ళినట్లుగా అక్కడ తీసుకెళ్ళి వాళ్ళందరినీ కూడా అఫెక్షన్గా చాలా ఆప్యాయంగా చూస్తుంటే అది చూసి నాకు చాలా చాలా హృదయపూర్వకమైనటువంటి ఒక ప్రభుపాదుల వారి యొక్క నిజమైనటువంటి ప్రతినిధిని చూసినట్లుగా నాకు అనిపించింది నిన్న.
So normally with two legs it's difficult for us to travel, but Maharaj is like a one-man army. Yesterday in Diksha ceremony, how he was personally connected to each person, how he is taking care of each and each disciple with a fatherly affection. By seeing all that, we developed so much love for Maharaj. He is a true follower of Srila Prabhupada's disciple.
సో హరి ఓ. సో మహారాజ్ గారితో నాకున్న చిన్న స్వానుభవం ఇదే విధంగా మేము తిరుపతి వచ్చినప్పుడు మహారాజ్తో ఒక విలేజ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్కి వెళ్ళామన్నమాట. విలేజ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు నేనే అక్కడ అనువాదకుడికి వెళ్ళాను. నాకు ఇప్పటికీ నేను అప్పుడప్పుడు చెప్తుంటాను భక్తులకి, అది అంటే ఒక శుద్ధ భక్తుడు వచ్చినప్పుడు ఈ భగవంతుడి యొక్క ప్రకృతి కూడా ఏ విధంగా స్పందిస్తుంది అనేదానికి ఆ విలేజ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ గ్రామ కార్యక్రమానికి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు మహారాజ్ ఎప్పుడైతే గ్రామం లోపలికి వస్తున్నారో ఆ వచ్చే సమయానికి చిన్నగా వర్షం మొదలైంది అనమాట.
I have one experience. Maharaj came to Tirupati, we went to the village program. So I'm explaining how even the climate, the Prakriti can connect when pure devotees come there. So when Maharaj entered the village, the drizzling of rain started.
లోపలికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత అక్కడ ఒక రామాలయం ఉంది. ఆ రామాలయం దగ్గర కూర్చొని ప్రవచనం మొదలైంది. మహారాజ్ ఎప్పుడైతే ఓం నమో భగవతే వాసుదేవ అని చెప్పారో వచ్చే వర్షం ఆగింది.
So Maharaj came and sat. The rain was drizzling and it's coming. Maharaj started the class and the rain stopped.
సో సౌకర్యంగా అందరూ కూడా కూర్చున్నారు, బాగా ప్రవచనం విన్నారు, గంట సేపు ఉపన్యాసం చెప్పారు. ఉపన్యాసం అయిపోయింది, మళ్ళీ అందరూ ప్రసాదం తీసుకున్నారు. ఇంకా ప్రసాదం అయిపోతుంది అనగా కుండపోత వర్షం కురిసింది అనమాట.
So Maharaj gave nice class and all the devotees took prasadam. We just about to finish prasadam, the rain started pouring there.
సో ప్రకృతి కూడా ఒక శుద్ధ భక్తుడి యొక్క స్వరానికి భగవన్నామ సంకీర్తనకి ఎంతగా స్పందిస్తుంది అనేదానికి ప్రత్యక్షంగా ఆ రోజు మేము భక్తులు అందరం కూడా అనుకున్నాం. చూడు, మహారాజ్ వచ్చేటప్పుడు వెల్కమ్ లాగా చెప్పింది వర్షం, మళ్ళీ ప్రవచనం జరిగేటప్పుడు ఏం ఇబ్బంది లేకుండా వరుణదేవుడు ఆగిపోయాడు. ప్రవచనం అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ప్రసాదం కూడా అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఇంకా ఒక శుద్ధ భక్తుడు వచ్చాడనే సంతోషంతో ప్రకృతి పరవశించి కుండపోతగా బాగా వర్షం పడింది అని చెప్పేసి ఊళ్ళో గ్రామస్తులంతా అనుకున్నారు.
So we can see how even climate is cooperating when pure devotee comes. When Maharaj entered, it just welcomed the rain. After all the program, the whole rain came not to disturb Maharaj's class and the whole program.
సో ఈ విధంగా ఏంటంటే మేము అక్కడ అంటే పర్టికులర్గా మేము చూసింది అక్కడ మహారాజ్ గారి యొక్క ప్యూరిటీ ఎంత గొప్పగా ఉంది అనేటువంటిది ప్రత్యక్షంగా చూడగలిగి ఆ వర్ణాశ్రమ ధర్మ విధానాన్ని ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయడానికి మాకున్నటువంటి కండిషన్స్లో ఏ విధంగా దాన్ని అభివృద్ధిపరచడానికి సాధ్యమవుతుంది అనేటువంటిది ముఖ్యంగా కృషి గోరక్ష అనేటువంటి రెండు కూడా అది మేము ప్రయత్నం చేస్తూ ఉన్నాము. అందులో భాగంగానే మొన్న ఈ మధ్యన తిరుమల తిరుపతి దేవస్థానం వాళ్ళు ఒక సమావేశం ఏర్పాటు చేసినప్పుడు దానికి నాకు చాలా సంతోషకరమైన విషయం ఏంటంటే దానికి ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి ఒక ఇస్కాన్ తరపున కోఆర్డినేటర్గా మన శ్రీరామ్ ప్రభుని వాళ్ళు తీసుకొని చక్కగా ప్రకృతి ఆధారిత ఆధారిత వ్యవసాయం అనేటువంటి దాని గురించి మంచి సెమినార్ 2 రోజులు నిర్వహించారు. సో ఆ దిశగా అందరూ కూడా ఇప్పుడు నేను అర్థం చేసుకుంది ఏంటంటే కరోనా తర్వాత ఈ ప్రకృతి వ్యవసాయము గో ఆధారిత వ్యవసాయము ఈ రెండింటి ద్వారా ప్రజలందరూ కూడా ఏంటంటే తెలియకుండానే ఈ వర్ణాశ్రమ విధానం వైపు మళ్ళుతున్నట్లుగా నాకు కనిపిస్తుంది అనమాట. మొత్తం అంతటా కూడా ఇప్పుడు అందరూ కూడా చూడండి ఆ న్యాచురల్ ఫుడ్ అంటేనో లేకపోతే ఇక ఆర్గానిక్ ఫుడ్ అంటే ఎక్కువ వాల్యూ ఇవ్వడం మొదలుపెట్టారు. ఈ విధంగా ఏంటంటే కరోనా తర్వాత వచ్చిన కరుణ ఏంటంటే ప్రజలందరూ నిదానంగా ఈ వర్ణాశ్రమ ధర్మం వైపు తిరిగి చూస్తున్నారు అని చెప్పి అర్థమవుతుంది.
Because of Maharaj purity, we started implementing these topics of cow protection and agriculture in Tirupati. Recently, there was a seminar organized by TTD and we were all trying to coordinate there. I was also part of it. And we had a very good 2-day seminar on importance of cows and agriculture. After COVID, we can all see how people are getting attracted to this farming and natural farming, cow protection. People are naturally is connected to Varnasrama. After COVID, they understand the importance of this land and cows.
మహారాజ్ ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి శిష్యులందరినీ కూడా ఎంతలా ప్రేరేపిస్తున్నారో మనం చూడొచ్చు అనమాట. ఇక్కడ మన శ్రీనాథ్ ప్రభు వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా ఆయన ఒక మాట అంటున్నాడు, ఏమని గోవుల పక్కన మీరు కూర్చోండి, ఆ గోవుల్ని ఎలా పోషించాలి అనేటువంటి ఐడియా గోవే ఇస్తుంది మీకు అని చెప్పేసి అన్నాడు ఆయన. సో ఆ మాట నన్ను చాలా ఇన్స్పైర్ చేసింది అనమాట. హరి హరి
హరి హరి బోల్. Maharaj is encouraging his disciples towards this mission, and I just heard from Srinath Prabhu, just sit behind the cows. Cows will give inspiration how to take care of them. Ideas. Cows will give inspiration and ideas how to feed and take care of them. You just have to go and sit behind the cows.
సో ఈ విధంగా నేను మహారాజ్ గారుకి మన ఇస్కాన్ అంతర్జాతీయ కృష్ణ చైతన్య సంఘం యావత్తు కూడా ప్రభుపాదుల వారి యొక్క ప్రియ శిష్యుడిగా ఈ వర్ణాశ్రమ విధానాన్ని సంపూర్ణం చేయడానికి వారు చేస్తున్నటువంటి కృషికి మొత్తం ఇస్కాన్ సమాజం అంతా కూడా వారికి ఎంతో రుణపడి ఉంటుంది. వ్యాసపూజ మహోత్సవం రోజున అందరూ కూడా వారి యొక్క రుణాన్ని ఏ విధంగా తిరిగి చెప్పుకోగలరు అని అంటే, తిరిగి పే చేయగలరు అంటే, చెల్లించగలరు అంటే ఈ వర్ణాశ్రమ విధానాన్ని మీకు సాధ్యమైనటువంటి రీతుల్లో, ఒక్కొక్కరికి ఒక్కొక్క రకమైనటువంటి విభిన్న పరిస్థితులు ఉంటాయి, మీకు సాధ్యమైన రీతిలో మీరు అభివృద్ధి చేయడానికి ప్రయత్నించి ఆ విధంగా శిష్యులుగా, ఇస్కాన్ భక్తులుగా, ప్రభుపాదుల వారికి అనుచరులుగా మనమందరం కూడా మహారాజ్ గారి యొక్క ఈ ఆశయాల్ని మనం నెరవేర్చే నిమిత్తమై ప్రయత్నిస్తే మనం ఆయనకు రుణం చెల్లించుకున్నట్లు అవుతుంది.
As a ISKCON society, we are so much thankful and indebted to Maharaj because of his dedicated preaching on this Varnasrama. The best way to thank Maharaj today is by following his instructions on implementing his ideas and his Varnasrama. We'll be more practically be thankful to Maharaj if we can all at our level we can implement this on ground level.
చాలా ధన్యవాదాలు భక్తులందరికీ కూడా. ప్రత్యేకించి ప్రభుపాదుల వారికి సీనియర్ శిష్యులు ఉన్నారు, మహారాజులు ఉన్నారు, వాళ్ళందరి ముందు నాకు అల్పుడికి అవకాశం ఇవ్వడం అనేటువంటిది అది మహారాజు యొక్క ప్రత్యేకమైనటువంటి కరుణగా నేను భావిస్తూ మీ అందరికీ కూడా హృదయపూర్వకంగా ఈ వ్యాసపూజ మహోత్సవం రోజున కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలియజేసుకుంటూ హరే కృష్ణ.
We thank all the devotees, especially Srila Prabhupada disciples. We can't speak in front of them, but by Maharaj mercy I could speak something. Thank you, Nityamukta Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, happy birthday. Maharaj and I actually come from the same town. We're both from Ottawa, Canada. So, the capital of the country.
Yes.
हरे कृष्ण। महाराज माता जी महाराज को हैप्पी बर्थडे कह रही है, कह रही है कि महाराज और मैं एक ही शहर से हैं।
Oh. So, I want to say that although I have aged a lot over the years, Maharaj, you've stayed so young.
मैं इतनी बूढ़ी हो गई लेकिन ये जवानी दिख रहे हैं।
Good for you. Hare Krishna. So, we've known Maharaj many years, and he's been a very close to our family in many ways.
हमारे परिवार से महाराज जुड़े हुए थे, कई वर्षों से हम लोग जानते हैं।
I especially remember that when, I don't know if this has already been talked about, but some time back, some years ago, there was a big attack on the deities on the temple here, and Maharaj was right in front of all the warriors to protect ISKCON and the deities and the devotees.
जब यहाँ पे डाकू लोग आके मारे थे, महाराज सबसे आगे खड़े होके अपने भगवान को विग्रह को बचाए थे।
Am I embarrassing you? I'm sorry, Maharaj. But he has many amazing ideas about Varnasrama and everything else, and I want to talk to you about that another time for our school. Because we're trying to get that going in the school too. But, oh, sorry.
महाराज के पास वर्णाश्रम को फैलाने के बहुत अच्छे आइडिया हैं, और माता जी ने कुछ अंग्रेजी में कहा, it's time to go, पता नहीं।
But you should know that we've made a start because we have 2 baby cows at the school.
हमारे पास 2 बाछी है हमारे यहाँ।
Srila Prabhupada in New Vrindavan said the children and cows are the natural combination.
प्रभुपाद ने कहा था कि बच्चे और गाय जो हैं बहुत प्राकृतिक रूप से दोस्त बन जाते हैं।
So we're following in a very tiny way in your footsteps.
तो आप जो करना चाहते हैं उसको हम बहुत छोटे रूप से कर रहे हैं।
Anyway, I just want to say how very much we appreciate your friendship over the years and your guidance, and just we think you're great.
हम आपको बस इतने सालों से आप जो हमको गाइड कर रहे हैं और उसके लिए आपको हम आभार व्यक्त करते हैं, और इतना ही कहना चाहते हैं कि आप बहुत महान हैं।
I have to say something about Prabhupada. Maharaj has nothing to do with your birthday.
No.
You remember that? Okay, on Maharaj's request, Maharaj Ruvacha. Okay, on Maharaj's instructions, he wants me to tell the story when I was 3 years old.
जब मैं 3 साल की थी,
I was in Bombay.
बॉम्बे में थी।
And Srila Prabhupada arrived.
प्रभुपाद जी आए।
It was the second last time he came to Bombay. It was still the old temple.
जब प्रभुपाद आखिरी बार आए थे, उसके जस्ट पहले बार जब आए थे।
And we were all lined up. The temple was like a small shack with a tin roof, and Prabhupada's quarters were on the other end of the property.
मंदिर क्या था, बस टीन का छप्पर था और प्रभुपाद जी का कमरा थोड़े दूर में था।
And Prabhupada wasn't so well at the time, so they would take him in the car.
प्रभुपाद इतने अच्छे स्वस्थ भी नहीं थे, तो कार में बैठा के उनको यहाँ से वहाँ लेके जाते थे।
So the first time he arrived, he went in, he greeted the deities, the foot bathing, all this, and then he was going to his quarters.
प्रभुपाद जी आए, पहले आए मंदिर में दर्शन लिए, भगवान को दर्शन लिए, श्रृंगार दर्शन लिए, उसके बाद वो वापस अपने कमरे में जाने लगे।
So everyone was lined up outside the temple, and Prabhupada was walking head high like a swan towards his car.
तो सब लोग साइड से खड़े थे और प्रभुपाद जी ऐसे बड़े राजहंस के जैसे सर उठा के ऐसा चल रहे थे।
I was at the very front of the car and I was dancing
कार के सामने खड़ी होकर मैं नाच रही थी.
3 years old.
3 साल की लड़की.
And they opened the door for Prabhupada to get in.
प्रभुपाद के लिए दरवाजा खुला और प्रभुपाद जी रुक गए.
And he called me over.
वो मेरे को बुलाया.
And then he leaned down with these big eyes. You know that picture of Prabhupada talking with
प्रभुपाद
the
आंखें बड़ी हो
child?
गई. आंखें बड़ी हो गई प्रभुपाद.
Big eyes.
आंखें बड़ी हो गई.
And he said, "Would you like to ride in my car with me?"
तुम मेरे साथ मेरे कार में चलोगी क्या?
And he said it like one child to another, like, "I just got a new
जैसे
toy."
एक बच्चा दूसरे बच्चे को कैसे बोलता है वैसा.
And so I looked at my mother, and my mother was like,
मैं अपनी माँ को देखी. माँ बोली जाओ जाओ जल्दी जाओ.
"Yes, Srila Prabhupada."
तो मैं कहा हाँ प्रभुपाद हाँ.
So the servant went to open the front for me to get in, and Prabhupada said, "No, no, she can ride in the back with me."
तुमको पीछे का दरवाजा खोल देने प्रभुपाद मेरे साथ बैठेगी.
So I rode in his car, and we went back to his quarters. We went upstairs. He gave me some maha, and then I left with my father.
तो उनके साथ कार में गई. उनके कमरे तक गई. प्रभुपाद जी ने कुछ महाप्रसाद दिया. फिर मैं वापस आई.
Next day,
अगले दिन
I was standing at the front of the car chanting,
फिर से
"Jai
मैं अगले दिन वहाँ से
Prabhupada."
जय प्रभुपाद फिर से नाच रही थी वहीं खड़े होके.
And he's walking along. He suddenly stops.
वो रुक गए. प्रभुपाद रुके.
He looks at me
मेरे
and
को
calls
देखे.
me over.
फिर से बुलाए.
"Would you like to ride in my car with me?"
मेरे साथ कार में आओगी क्या?
As if it never happened before, a brand new thing. Like he just had the idea.
ऐसा प्रभुपाद कभी बोलते नहीं थे. बस प्रभुपाद का ऐसा आइडिया आया बस.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada.
हाँ हाँ प्रभुपाद.
He was in Bombay for 2 weeks.
2 हफ्ते तक बम्बे में रहे थे प्रभुपाद.
He did this pastime every day with me.
हर दिन प्रभुपाद मेरे साथ ऐसा किए.
Haribo.
हरिबोल.
I didn't know that.
माँ कह रही कि उनको मालूम नहीं है.
Going back to your birthday, happy birthday.
और महाराज को हैप्पी बर्थडे कर रही है.
And I just want to thank you for being so kind to a little 6-year-old. He was always very kind to me.
महाराज जी मेरे पे बहुत दया किए हैं. बहुत मेरे को मानते थे.
Somehow I could recognize something. I don't know. I was fascinated with Maharaj.
मेरे को बहुत आश्चर्य महाराज को होता था देख के.
I knew he was special.
वो बहुत विशेष है मुझे समझता था.
And so I always wanted to hold his hand.
मैं हमेशा उनका हाथ पकड़ना चाहती थी.
But at the time he was a brahmachari.
लेकिन वो ब्रह्मचारी थे.
And now he's a sannyasi.
Brahmacharis don't usually hold the hands of little 6-year-old girls.
छोटे लड़कियों के हाथ ब्रह्मचारी लोग पकड़ते नहीं हैं.
But he was always very kind. He didn't go, "Oh, go away."
महाराज ऐसे सीखे.
And I've always been grateful. Thank you.
महाराज मैं हमेशा आपके आभारी हूँ.
Thank you for the mercy.
हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that story that she was telling? Since you
माता
wanted
जी उस
Prabhupada's
कहानी में
story.
जोड़ेगी पहले वाली कहानी में.
So during this same time, when Srila Prabhupada was being driven back to the temple every day,
जब प्रभुपाद जी को लेके जाते थे उसी समय क्या होता था?
his quarters were on the second floor,
प्रभुपाद जी का कमरा
first floor in India.
तीसरे तल्ले में था.
So he was carried on a palanquin up the stairs.
तो उनको पालकी में बिठा के तीसरे तल्ले में ले जाते थे.
So every day my husband would carry the front part of the palanquin. Usually somebody else, different people would carry the back, but every day he'd carry the front.
मेरे पति हमेशा आगे वाला साइड पकड़ते थे पालकी के. पीछे वाला कोई अलग-अलग आदमी पकड़ता था.
So he would wait to make sure that Srila Prabhupada was sitting nicely, comfortably on the palanquin, and then he'd pick it up and off he'd go up the
वो
stairs.
देखते थे कि अच्छे से प्रभुपाद जी बैठ गए तब उठाते थे ले जाते थे.
But then every day when he was finished, he would come home and he would say, "I don't understand."
हर दिन जब मेरे पति आते थे उनको छोड़ के तो मेरे को आके जब मिलते थे कहते थे मुझे समझ में नहीं आता एक चीज.
Prabhupada was so light today.
आज इतने प्रभुपाद हल्के कैसे थे?
Or Prabhupada was so heavy today. I
आज
could
इतने भारी
hardly
कैसे हो
pick
गए?
him up.
किसी दिन भारी बोलते थे किसी दिन हल्का बोलते थे.
And he was a big, strong guy.
अब बहुत मजबूत थे मेरे पति जो थे बहुत मजबूत थे.
So then came the very last day
तो आखिरी
that
दिन की बात आई
before Prabhupada was leaving.
जब प्रभुपाद जी जा रहे थे उसके पहले.
And so he turned around and made sure that Prabhupada was nicely settled on the palanquin.
तो मेरे पति ने देखा कि हाँ बैठ गए प्रभुपाद बैठ गए अभी.
And then he picked it up, but it came right up.
और उठाया उसको.
So he thought, "Oh, Prabhupada must have stepped off. I'm so offensive.
तुरंत
I
उठ गया
didn't
तो उनको लगा
notice."
प्रभुपाद गिर गए क्या हुआ.
So he turned around to see what happened.
तो देखे पीछे मुड़ के.
And Prabhupada was sitting on the palanquin,
प्रभुपाद तो अंदर ही बैठे थे,
smiling a big
प्रभुपाद हंस रहे थे,
smile,
हाँ,
looking like a naughty little elf.
छोटे बदमाश हाथी की तरह हंस रहे थे.
And he said to my husband, I think I am very light today.
प्रभुपाद का लगता है मैं आज बहुत हल्का हो गया हूँ, है ना?
I thought you might like that one, Maharaj. Happy birthday again. Hare Krishna.
ये याद आया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. हरे कृष्ण.
Wonderful. I'd never heard that. Small gift. Both of you.
Chaksamalitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Pastai Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Kachalini Nivishesha Shinivadi Paskada Desitarani. Panchakopadevscha Kripa Sindhavevcha Patitavanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so happy to see so many smiling faces. When Maharaj arrived, I came at the same time with my wife. I saw so many young Gurukul boys.
मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ कि मुझे बुलाया गया और मैं यहाँ आके बहुत खुश हूँ. लोगों के चेहरों को देख के बहुत खुशी हो रही है और मुझे यहाँ बहुत सारे गुरुकुल के बच्चे दिखे.
So, as it was previously mentioned, that we're all getting old. Sarvata mentioned that. And the Gurukul boys and anybody involved in the educational system of Gurukul children is a most important project for our future.
गुरुकुल के बच्चों को जो पढ़ाया जा रहा है, गुरुकुल के बच्चों को जो पढ़ाया जा रहा है और जो पढ़ा रहे हैं, वो सबसे बड़ा कार्य हो रहा है हमारे मूवमेंट के लिए.
So these followers of Maharaj, they're your followers? Are they coming from South India?
Different places.
Jharkhand. They're very, especially Jharkhand.
Yeah.
So, you know, we are moving on and the world is changing very, very fast.
अब प्रभुपाद जी कह रहे हैं कि जो हम लोग तो अब निकलने वाले हैं संसार से और दुनिया जो है बदल रही है.
Maharaj, in his glory days, over 30 years ago, you took sannyas?
Approximately
1985. So we can see he's a classic example of a renunciate, of a sannyasi who hasn't fallen down, who has been very staunch in the sannyas ashram.
1985 में महाराज जी ने संन्यास लिया और आज तक वो एकदम क्लियर रहे. ये एकदम बहुत बड़ा उदाहरण है.
This is very commendable.
ये बहुत अच्छी बात है.
Actually, I joined in Canada.
मैं भी कनाडा में ज्वाइन हुआ था.
You can read about it.
आप पढ़ सकते हैं, किताब में लिखा है.
I didn't really come in contact with Maharaj, but remotely during the centennial year.
जब शताब्दी का एक वर्ष था,
1995, is it? 1996.
1996 में जब शताब्दी वर्ष था ISKCON का.
And as I was publishing my first book as an amateur writer,
तो मैंने अपना पहला पुस्तक जो है छापा था.
I got a message from Bhakti Raghava.
और मुझे भक्ति
Swami
राघव स्वामी
from Montreal.
मॉन्ट्रियल से मेरे को संदेश आया.
And he wrote an email to me about my book, and it was so uplifting to get a response from a reader.
तो तुरंत महाराज जी ने मेरे पुस्तक के ऊपर कमेंट लिखा था. बहुत अच्छा लगा मेरे को पढ़ के.
So that gave me impetus, and today this is my third book.
ये मेरी तीसरी पुस्तक है जो मैं आज निकाला है.
I have presented to Maharaj.
जो आज मैंने महाराज जी को दिया, प्रस्तुत किया है.
Maharaj has traversed all over Southeast Asia.
मेरे साथ महाराज जी साउथ ईस्ट दक्षिण पूर्व एशिया में भ्रमण करते थे.
Many of the places that he has preached in,
वो हम साथ में प्रचार करते थे.
they are hellish by their nature.
वो नरक के समान ही थे वो सब जगह जो थे.
Some of them are considered the gateways to hell.
कहीं कहीं तो नरक का रास्ता कहते हैं कोई कोई ऐसी जगह.
Such as Indonesia.
जैसे इंडोनेशिया है.
Philippines, where they eat undescribable things.
फिलीपींस है जहाँ पे जो खाते हैं वो यहाँ बता नहीं सकते हैं.
So he has been a pioneer in the true sense of the word, a missionary.
इसलिए सच्चे रूप में महाराज एक मिशनरी हैं जो ऐसे जगहों में जाके उन्होंने प्रचार किया.
And we hope that one of his disciples or Maharaj himself will write about his escapades during the last 30 years.
और मैं आशा करता हूँ कि महाराज के कोई शिष्य महाराज ही अपने वृत्तांतों को लिखेंगे पिछले 30 सालों में कहाँ गए महाराज.
It is very important for us to know, because when Maharaj moves on and we all move on, all the old Prabhupada disciples, we must leave a legacy behind.
ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि जब महाराज न रहें, हम सब प्रभुपाद के शिष्य न रहें, तो आपके पास वो किताब तो रहे कि कहाँ क्या हुआ था.
He and all the older Prabhupada disciples gave everything to Srila Prabhupada.
ये और प्रभुपाद का जितने भी सब शिष्य उन्होंने सब कुछ प्रभुपाद को दे दिया.
In their youth.
जवानी में दे दिया.
And now we're old men.
अब ओल्ड बूढ़े हो गए.
So at least out of gratitude we can produce a book.
तो एक आभार के रूप में आप किताब लिख दीजिए.
So I don't want to hold everybody up.
मैं सबको रोकना नहीं चाहता.
And we look forward to getting a response from Maharaj.
और इस पुस्तक के बारे में महाराज का मैं ओपिनियन चाहूँगा.
हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण. हरि बोल.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. I am very happy, Maharaj, to be here with you.
मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि महाराज आपके साथ हूँ.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You look very young. It's true what
अभी भी
Mataji
जवान
said.
दिखते हैं.
No, you never change. What happened? What pills you take?
कौन सी दवाई खाते हैं?
Tell us the secret.
I don't take any.
महाराज मैं कुछ लेता नहीं.
The secret, the fountain of youth, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So I want to say that Maharaj has been always a great inspiration for me.
महाराज मेरे लिए बहुत बड़े प्रेरणा के स्रोत हैं.
I know Maharaj from 1979 when I joined.
1979 से मैं महाराज को जान रहा हूँ.
And I was having the great fortune of traveling with Maharaj in Namata in many villages.
और महाराज ने नामट चालू किया था गांव-गांव में.
And Maharaj was always very peaceful and always very inspiring to everyone.
महाराज बड़े शांत रहते थे और बड़े प्रेरणा के स्रोत होते थे सबके लिए.
Of course, he's a white elephant.
ये एक सफेद हाथी थे.
I become black.
मैं काला हाथी.
Anyway, but Maharaj was always consistent and fixed in his devotional service of preaching for Srila Prabhupada.
प्रभुपाद के लिए जो प्रचार किया महाराज उसमें कभी हिले नहीं.
Sometimes we had to walk for a long time in the village because the car or the bus could not reach there.
कैसे नाम हट के प्रचार में कभी-कभी जाते थे, कभी-कभी गांव में कार वहां जाता नहीं था तो चल के लंबा दूरी चल के जाते थे.
I remember sometimes you had a cycle also or not. Yes.
तभी आपको साइकिल भी था कि नहीं याद है.
So I was always very inspired, and Maharaj personally took very nice care of me.
महाराज ने मेरा बहुत ध्यान रखा.
And he always, when you are young, your mind goes here and there.
जब आप जवान हो तो आपका दिमाग इधर-उधर घूमता है.
So Maharaj would preach to me and tell me, "Don't worry, everything will be all right."
महाराज मुझे प्रचार करके समझाते थे दुनिया में सब सुधर.
And I should say, by his inspiration, yes, Krishna consciousness works.
और उनकी प्रेरणा से हाँ मैंने को लगा कि हाँ भक्ति तो काम करती है.
I'm still here. I'm very inspired, and Maharaj is also there.
आज भी हम साथ हैं और महाराज के साथ ही हैं.
So I don't want to take so much of the time. There will be many speakers, but I want to request Maharaj to continue bless me in my spiritual life, that I may attain the ultimate goal of life.
मैं महाराज से अनुमोदन करूंगा कि मेरे पर कृपा रखें और मैं अपने जीवन का लक्ष्य प्राप्त कर सकूं.
जय श्री भक्ति राघव महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, गौर प्रेमानंदे. Thank you, Maharaj.
श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत समिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी पुचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात सतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So there are many things to speak, an association with Maharaj, but I got only 4 minutes. So
महाराज के बारे में बहुत कुछ कहने लेकिन 4 ही मिनट का समय दिया गया है.
So quickly, very few within, very shortly, I will offer few things.
छोटे में कहेंगे लेकिन.
Actually, in 1988, I met Maharaj at ISKCON Kolkata.
1988 में कलकत्ता इस्कॉन में मैं पहली बार महाराज को मिला.
I didn't go to meet Maharaj. Actually, I went to become life member with cash, not to help ISKCON, but somebody told me that if I become life member, then I can get some facility to go different ISKCON temple and I can get free prasad and accommodation.
मैं पहली बार जब इस्कॉन गया तो बहुत सारा कैश लेके गया था लाइफ मेंबर बनने के लिए. इसलिए नहीं कि इस्कॉन को मदद करना है, बल्कि इसलिए कि ये करने से मेरे को पूरा दुनिया घूमने का और फ्री में रहने का मौका मिलेगा.
So I approached one devotee at temple and he took me to Maharaj.
मैं मंदिर में एक व्यक्ति को मिला और वो महाराज के पास मुझे लेके गया.
Actually that time I didn't know what is Maharaj and this Vaishnava culture because I only know that anybody with saffron is Swamiji. We used to call Swamiji in Bengal.
मुझे पता नहीं था कि कोई स्वामी कौन होता है, ब्रह्मचारी कौन होता है. मुझे इतना ही पता था कि गेरुआ पहना मतलब स्वामी जी है.
But the devotee told that you give the money to Maharaj. I said, why he is telling Maharaj to? He is Swamiji.
तो कुछ ने कहा कि महाराज को पैसा दो. तो मुझे लगा महाराज क्यों बोल रहे हैं, तो स्वामी जी हैं.
So anyhow, that time I first time I met Maharaj and
खैर जो भी है पहली बार मिला मैं.
Maharaj told that there is one youth preaching class. I think every Wednesday it takes place.
महाराज ने कहा कि हर बुधवार को एक युवकों के लिए क्लास होता है.
So one day I thought, okay, let me go and see what is happening.
एक दिन मैं सोचा जाके देखता हूँ क्या होता है.
So I went there and I remember there are nine young boys were there and all were from St. Xavier's College.
9 लड़के बैठे थे, सब सेंट जेवियर कॉलेज के बच्चे थे.
And after some brief Maharaj lectures and discussion, and that last session was the japa.
सारा होने के बाद आखिरी सेशन जपा करने का था.
So I never do any kirtan. In my village I used to listen this Harinam, but I never tried to do Harinam and kirtan, nothing.
मैंने बहुत बार हरिनाम गांव में सुना था लेकिन कभी किया नहीं था.
Now that last they were having that japa beads, and then Maharaj wanted that I also will chant, and Maharaj wanted to give that japa beads. So I was hesitating to take.
महाराज मुझे भी जपा माला देना चाहते थे लेकिन मैं लेना नहीं चाहता था.
Anyhow, I was forced to take and I was forced to do one round japa.
कि जबरदस्ती मुझे पकड़ा दिया गया और जबरदस्ती माला करवा दिया गया. क्या करें?
And I thought, okay, now it is over. Immediately I wanted to return it.
मैं माला वापस कर रहा था कि अब रख लीजिए, हो गया.
Maharaj told, no, you take it home.
लेके जाओ, घर लेके जाओ.
And that is a great problem.
वो बड़ा समस्या था.
Because in Bengali village, we used to see that two categories of people, they do the Harinam.
बंगाल में 2 तरह के लोग हरि नाम लेते हैं.
That we used to see that time.
हम देखते थे.
One is that when somebody die, so they take the body for the
पहला जब कोई मर जाता है तो शमशान घाट ले जाते समय गाते हैं.
So there are some people, they are expert in that. They are not sadachari. They smoke, they drink sometimes, but they know how to play mridanga and kirtan.
तो जो धुआं पीने वाले जो लोग होते हैं वो भी कीर्तन करते हुए मुर्दे को लेके जाते हैं शमशान घाट.
So that is one category I see. Though they only do the Harinam.
कि वही लोग जो है धुआं पीने वाले वही लोग हरिनाम करते हैं.
A second category I saw that there was one Mataji from East Bengal, from Bangladesh. So he used to come to different house for begging.
और दूसरा में कुछ बूढ़ी माता जी लोग को देखता था बांग्लादेश के जो भीख मांगती थी तब हरिनाम लेती.
वो दरजा में जाके वो महामंत्र कीर्तन करके फिर भीख मांगती थी.
पर हरे कृष्णा गा के फिर भीख मांगते थे.
So my problem was that if I take this and do in my house, so all will think I am in that category.
अगर मैं ये लेना चालू करूँगा तो सब सोचेंगे मैं भी वही भीख मांगने वाला, नहीं तो कोई तो धुआं पीने वाला.
So what I did, I took it and we had that mud house. This.
हमारे पास मिट्टी का घर था.
So I was in personal box. I kept inside.
मैं बक्सा में छिपा कर रखता था उसको.
So no one will see that.
कोई देखता नहीं.
But that is Maharaj's special kripa.
महाराज के विशेष कृपा थी.
What happened that after 1 or 2 days, I felt that to remove it and chant.
मेरे को 1-2 दिन के बाद लगा कि मुझे निकाल के जप करना चाहिए,
ऐसा मन मेरे को हुआ.
ऐसा मन हुआ.
Then what I used to do, from inside I close all the doors, windows, everything.
मैंने सब दरवाजा बंद किया
And
और उसके बाद
slowly I remove that and I will chant one round and I keep inside. Then I'll open the doors.
मैंने सब दरवाजा बंद करके जप किया, फिर दरवाजा खोला.
So one day my mother came.
मेरी माँ आ गई एक दिन.
And my mala was not completed.
मेरा माला हुआ नहीं था.
But it was no fan, and after that I opened all that windows and done lot of sweating.
पूरा पसीना हो
And
रहा
he
था.
started chasing. What you are doing? Tell me.
मेरी माँ पूछ ले, तू क्या कर रहा था, बता अंदर.
Tell me what you are doing. But anyhow, that is Maharaj's special grace.
लेकिन महाराज की कृपा से सब हो गया.
I started chanting in the train, in the bus, because for my job I had to go start early from my home. Then I didn't have much time, so I started chanting in the bus, train, and everywhere.
मैं बस में, ट्रेन में चैंटिंग करता था.
But unfortunately, very brief, I want to say that Maharaj came to my village also, and these Gurukul boys, Maharaj was attached from that time. I remember it will be 1990 or 91, maybe, and Maharaj came to my home and with many Gurukul boys.
1990 की बात है कि आज नहीं, तभी भी गुरुकुल के कुछ बच्चों को लेके आए थे.
So with many, I think 10-12 Gurukul boys,
10-12 बच्चे उनके साथ, 10 से 12 बच्चे थे.
तो अभी मैं सोच रहा था महाराज सिर्फ गुरुकुल में अभी अटैच नहीं है, तब से अटैच है. Anyhow, then we had some association, we had some program in Uti. Maharaj came with some 12 engineering student, and we had 10 days program at Uti. So like this, many things. But unfortunately, I was thinking that Maharaj spent lot of time in West Bengal, but unfortunately, we have very few Bengali devotees who can support that Prabhupada's 50% left out work to help Maharaj. There are very few Bengali devotees.
बहुत सारा प्रचार हमने किया, ऊटी करके जगह वहाँ प्रचार किया, लेकिन दुर्भाग्यवश बहुत कम लोग बंगाल से जुड़े जो कि प्रभुपाद जी का जो 50% सपना पूरा करने के लिए कोई जुड़े आके.
But now since long time my association I lost. I think in 91 I met last. Then after that long time, 1921 4th October I met. I think after 20 years, more than 30 years.
30 साल के बाद, 91 के बाद महाराज को 21 में मिले वो. 30 साल के बाद.
Here at Mayapur, and then Maharaj gave me some more than 1 hour time, and we discussed lot of time, lot of things, and very brief I want to tell. Maharaj stayed for another continuously 4-5 months. Now we have here Maharaj. Now we have nearly 250 Bengali devotees from 4 districts specially, and now we had many plans, and now about Maharaj gave some books to be translated in Bengali, because without that we cannot preach. Maharaj, that Gita Nagari books is completed now.
250 के आसपास 4 जिलों से भक्त तैयार हो गए हैं. बहुत सारे प्लान हैं, और प्रभुपाद जी के पुस्तकों को और महाराज जी के पुस्तकों को बंगाली में अनुवाद का कार्य चालू हो रहा है.
और now Maharaj, we are thinking to reach. Now we have reached 9 districts.
अभी हम 9 जिलों में पहुंच चुके हैं.
And now most important thing is now we have joined with Maharaj nearly 30 devotees from 9 different Guru Maharajs.
हमारे पास 30 भक्त हैं जो 9 अलग अलग महाराजों से जुड़े हुए हैं साथ में
है. उसमें 6 ब्रह्मचारीज है,
जो 6 ब्रह्मचारी
और गृहस्थ भी है, जो हम लोग ये वर्णाश्रम प्रचार को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हम लोग महाराज का साथ जुड़े हैं. अभी महाराज का तो ब्लेसिंग्स है ही है, और हम लोग ये सोच, नाउ वी आर थिंकिंग दैट टू in West Bengal we will join in future with many devotees. We will join with our Varnasrama, and wherever I go and I speak about Maharaj, and all they know from some 30 years, 40 years, now to very senior devotees, they have joined and met. Maharaj also very happy, and they are also very happy. So very sorry Prabhu, I take little more time. Okay.
और भी भक्त जुड़ रहे हैं. मैंने इतना ही कह के विराम देंगे. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.
First of all, I pay obeisance to Srimad Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj. He is my Shikha Guru, and he was my new Bhakti in charge.
पहले सबसे पहले मैं भक्ति राघव महाराज को दंडवत प्रणाम करता हूँ जो मेरे शिक्षा गुरु हैं और मेरे न्यू भक्ति इंचार्ज थे.
I joined 1978, 23rd January.
1978 को 23 जनवरी को ज्वाइन हुए थे.
So that time, whole Mayapur was empty. Only
मायापुर कुछ नहीं, खाली खाली था.
Only Sakra Bhavan and Lotus building.
केवल लोटस और
Lotus building.
हाँ.
Actual, no place to stay any other place. Bhakti Raghava Maharaj.
रुकने का जगह नहीं था कहीं.
He was staying with us basement of long building.
लॉन्ग बिल्डिंग के बेसमेंट में हम लोग साथ में रहते थे महाराज के साथ.
So the very difficult situation that time.
बहुत कठिनाई संघर्ष का जीवन था.
So that time in Samadhi place was big jungle.
समाधि जो आज है वो जंगल था बड़ा.
And Maharaj, he gave engagement to us. That time maybe few devotees, maybe together was 10 devotees like this.
बहुत कम भक्त थे, हो सकता है जोड़ के 10 लोग होंगे टोटल.
And Maharaj, he is giving service to us.
हमको महाराज सेवा देते थे.
And actual Maharaj, that Samadhi place, that big jungle there, and Maharaj, he that time he's coming with us also cleaning that jungle.
महाराज हम लोग के साथ आके वो जंगल साफ करते थे.
With one instrument that is called Bengali kachi.
एक काची करके कुछ हथियार लेके हम लोग साफ करते थे जंगल.
And that time that place was big, one pond.
तालाब था वहाँ पे बड़ा.
And we swimming, taking bath there.
उसी में नहाते थे.
And Maharaj also.
तैरते थे
Maharaj also was with us.
हम लोग महाराज के साथ करते थे.
And Maharaj, every day he was giving class to us.
हर दिन महाराज हम लोग को क्लास देते थे.
And he taught us different topics about new Bhakti program.
नए भक्त प्रोग्राम में महाराज अलग अलग चीजें हमें सिखाते थे.
And he giving Gita class also.
गीता क्लास भी देते थे.
Actually, so many things because he gave only 2 minutes.
बहुत सारी चीज बोलने के लिए 2 ही मिनट समय दिए.
So one time Bhakti Charu, I am disabled of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. That time I was disabled of Bhavanand Maharaj.
अभी मैं भक्ति चारू महाराज शिष्य हूँ, तब मैं भवानंद महाराज का शिष्य था.
So Srimad Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he told us in class time, Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, he also, when Guru Maharaj joined Srimad Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and he is giving Bhagavad Gita class to also Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj was very surprised, and he is very astonished how much on foreign devotees they are giving very nice philosophy about Gita and Gita class. So Guru Maharaj was very astonished and very surprised.
एक बार भक्ति राघव महाराज भगवद गीता क्लास दे रहे थे और भक्ति चारू महाराज भी आके सुनने लगे और बाद में कहते हैं कि फॉरेन के भक्त होके भी इतना अच्छा भगवद गीता क्लास कैसे दे रहे हैं.
So now I don't want to take any more time because so Bhakti Raghava Maharaj, he is my Shikha Guru, and that's why I am coming here. Only I want to take the darshan and give some flower to his lotus feet.
मेरे शिक्षा गुरु हैं और इनको बस दर्शन लेने के लिए मैं यहाँ आया हूँ.
So I am very happy to see Maharaj, and also I am happy come to here, join Maharaj. Because I have seen first time Maharaj, he attend his Vyaspuja time in Mayapur. I have seen.
इतने दिनों में पहली बार महाराज का व्यास पूजा अटेंड कर रहा हूँ.
So, जय श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति राघव स्वामी गुरुदेव की. And व्यास पूजा of His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Guru Maharaj की जय. हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. हरि बोल. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Srila Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj, from the beginning I saw he is very active, and at the beginning he started Namhatta.
भक्ति राघव महाराज
At
शुरू
that
से
time, first time Sankirtan Samachar was published by Maharaj.
भक्ति राघव महाराज ने नाम हट चालू किया था. उसमें संकीर्तन समाचार करके कुछ पब्लिश होता था.
I could not imagine that this could be materialized.
मेरे को कभी लगा नहीं कि कभी होगा ये सब चीज.
But Maharaj, he started revolution, and
महाराज ने क्रांति ला दिया.
he was going around everywhere and starting Namhatta.
और हर जगह जा जाके नाम हट चालू कर रहे थे.
And in that way he only established it.
और इसी तरह से महाराज ने ही इसको चालू किया नाम हट को.
And also during 84 when dacoit was there.
84 में जब डकैत आए थे.
So Maharaj was so brave. He even went into the dacoit group.
महाराज इतने बहादुर थे डकैतों के बीच में घुस गए थे.
But they bombed him.
लेकिन उन्होंने उनके ऊपर बम मार दिया.
And then Maharaj's one leg was
उनका एक पैर चला गया.
fractured totally. And he was taken to hospital.
उनको हॉस्पिटल ले जाया जाएगा.
And the doctors, I heard doctors are cutting his bone.
जब डॉक्टर इनकी हड्डी काट रहे थे मैंने सुना था डॉक्टर को कहते हुए.
And Maharaj is chanting Hare Krishna all the time.
और महाराज उसमें जप करे थे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा.
Doctors are surprised. How is this possible?
डॉक्टर बोले ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है.
And all the way from there, from Krishnanagar, he was taken to Calcutta. That time also he was chanting.
यहाँ से हॉस्पिटल ले आते समय भी जपा कर रहे थे.
So after that, Maharaj came back, and I saw as he was brahmachari.
उसके बाद महाराज आए ब्रह्मचारी के रूप में.
Then this time Maharaj was wearing sannyasi cloth.
लेकिन महाराज ने सन्यास कपड़ा पहन लिया था.
So I thought now Maharaj has become Maharaj.
तब मैं समझा अब महाराज महाराज हो गए.
Soon after that, Maharaj took sannyas.
लोग वापस महाराज ने फिर सन्यास लिया उसके बाद.
And he was
वो पैर पे कपड़ा ऐसे नहीं मोड़ पा रहे होंगे ना तो सन्यास जैसा गोल किया होगा इसलिए.
So after that, Maharaj has gone to South India and kept on his movement.
बाद में महाराज ने दक्षिण भारत में अपना प्रचार चालू किया.
And I didn't have much contact with him.
उनसे ज़्यादा जुड़ाव नहीं था मेरा उस समय.
But whenever I see Maharaj, Maharaj speaks to me so friendly, so intimately.
जब मैं महाराज से मिलता महाराज बहुत ही प्रेम से स्नेह से बात करते हैं.
So I'm very much indebted to Maharaj for his endeavor to fulfill Prabhupada's mission.
मैं ऋणी हूँ महाराज का कि महाराज ने प्रभुपाद के इस मिशन को पूरा किया है.
So I hope Maharaj will be going ahead, and I'll be with him with whatever way possible.
महाराज इसमें जरूर आगे जाएंगे और मैं उनके साथ हूँ. मेरे से जो भी हो सकेगा मैं करूँगा.
His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Now I request His Holiness Bhakti Prem Maharaj to say a few words.
Yeah, okay.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति राघव स्वामी नित्य नामिने। मेरा सौभाग्य नहीं, मैं हिंदी में बोलने की कोशिश करूँगा, प्रभु हिंदी। मेरा सौभाग्य नहीं हुआ गुरु महाराज का पर्सनल संग लेने का।
I was not that fortunate to be associate of Guru Maharaj.
लेकिन मेरा बहुत इच्छा था उनका चरण धूलि प्राप्त करने का।
But I had a great desire to achieve his lotus dust.
मैं जस्ट दो बात कहूँगा। आज जिस तरह सनत कुमार प्रभु ने कहा है, भक्ति चर्चा में गुरु महाराज ने कहा, जब जिस दिन पहले उन्हें शाम को आए मायापुर में, तो महाराज ने गीता क्लास दे रहे थे, तो गुरु महाराज ने कहा, वह सुनकर मेरा आश्चर्य लगा, इस तरह होता है। जीवन में पहली बार उन्होंने कृष्ण का फिलोसफी किसी मुख में सुना और अगले दिन शेप करके ब्रह्मचारी बन गया।
First time Bhakti Charu Maharaj came here, he saw Maharaj giving Bhagavad Gita class. After hearing his Bhagavad Gita class, next day shaved their head and joined.
और एक बात श्रीपाद जन्मवेशपुर ने कहा है, भक्ति राघव महाराज इतना महापुरुष का प्रिय है, महापुरुष का तो बहुत भक्त प्रिय है, लेकिन उन्होंने सारा दुनिया का परिचित करने के लिए वो डाकट के अटक करके उनका जो पैर लॉस किया है, ये एक्चुअली चैतन्य महाप्रभु का विशेष कृपा है कि सारा दुनिया देख सकते ये मेरा कितना प्रिय है, उन्हें जान दे सकते मेरे लिए।
This is Jananivas Prabhu has said that let the whole world see that how Lord Chaitanya has such a dear servant that even if he has one leg, has lost leg, still he can go around and preach whole world.
और बंगाल में जो प्रचार करने के लिए, बांग्ला के प्रति कृपा करने के लिए जिसका नाम पहले आते हैं, तो इतिहास में बांग्ला में कृष्ण भक्ति प्रचार का जिसका नाम लिखा रहेंगे, तो भक्ति राघव स्वामी गुरु महाराज का नाम हमेशा रहेगा।
In Bengal, if it is history is written, who all preached here, the first ones will be His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj.
तो मैं तो कहूँगा बंगाली लोग डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली प्रत्यक्ष रूप में सभी महाराज के प्रति ऋणी है।
I will say that all the Bengalis are directly or indirectly indebted to Maharaj ji.
यह देख के मेरा बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, महाराज ने बहुत दिन बाद फिर बंगाल को कृपा करना चाहते हैं।
I am very happy to see that after many days again he is back here in Bengal for giving his mercy.
तो हम श्रील प्रभुपाद के पास प्रार्थना करते हैं, महाराज का हमारे पास दीर्घ दिन रखकर हमको भक्ति मार्ग में गाइड करते रहे।
We pray to Srila Prabhupada to keep Maharaj with us for many more years.
श्रीमद् भक्ति राघव स्वामी गुरु महाराज की
जय,
जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय,
गौर प्रेमानंद।
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
So, Maharaj is asking me to tell some of my bizarre story of coming to Mayapur. The second time I came in a...
मेरी कहानी थोड़ी सी अजीबोगरीब है। मैं जब दूसरी बार मायापुर आया था,
So this is a rather strange story, so I'll tell it. The first time I'd gone to the Himalayas to try to find the Dalai Lama.
मैं जब पहली बार आया भारत, पहली बार तो मैं हिमालय चला गया था दलाई लामा को खोजने के लिए।
That was in 1976.
1976 में जब मैं पहली बार आया था तो दलाई लामा को खोजने के लिए हिमालय चला गया था।
Did you find him?
And no, I got as far as the base camp of Everest, and then the Chinese were in Tibet, so I didn't manage to get.
मैं जब गया था तो चाइना के लोग तिब्बत को हड़प लिए थे और वो मिले नहीं।
But I'd read many books at that time. There were many books about mysticism.
और योग सिद्धियों के बारे में कई किताबें पढ़ी थी तब मैंने।
And a lot of them had been made up.
बहुत सारी किताब इसे बनावटी मनगढ़ंत लिखे हुए थे।
But there was one book called 7 Years in Tibet by a man called Heinrich Harrer.
एक व्यक्ति का किताब था 7 साल तिब्बत में, वो किताब एक लिखा हुआ था, वो पढ़ा था।
And it was very believable.
और ये विश्वास करने वाली किताब थी।
And it was convincing that there's something more than materialistic life out there.
और उसने मुझे को ये समझा दिया कि इस भौतिक दुनिया के परे भी कोई चीज़ है।
So after I got to, there's a point at the end of the story, by the way, so stay on. So after I got to Tibet, I decided God's too difficult for me to find. He's going to have to find me instead.
What difficult?
God is too difficult for me to find.
तिब्बत में रहने के बाद मुझे समझ में आया कि भगवान को खोजना इतना आसान नहीं, बहुत कठिन काम है।
he's going to have to find me instead.
भगवान को ही मुझे खोजना पड़ेगा, मैं तो भगवान को खोज नहीं सकूँगा.
So I sort of thought, I'll spend my life, I'll just become a waiter in a restaurant.
मैं बस इंतजार में अपना समय बिताने लगा.
That's for the rest of my life.
पूरे जीवन में.
Yeah. And then when I was in Bombay returning,
मैं जब बॉम्बे आया उसके बाद वापसी में,
this devotee said to me, why don't you come to Mayapur?
तो एक भक्त ने मुझे कहा कि तुम मायापुर क्यों नहीं आते?
But I was not interested. They dressed funny. They weren't very mystic. What is the use of his initiation in the first
अगर
place?
प्रभुपाद जी परंपरा को कंटिन्यू नहीं कर सकेंगे तो उनके दीक्षा का महत्व क्या बचेगा?
So the Ganges, at different parts along the Ganges, you still get Ganges water.
गंगा के अलग-अलग भाग में पानी उठाइएगा, सब जगह गंगा का पानी होगा.
So this is a very wonderful occasion today to see
इसलिए परंपरा के कहीं से भी दीक्षा लीजिएगा, वो दीक्षा का वही वैल्यू.
the wonderful Ganges of the Parampara.
तो गंगा जी का पानी बह रहा है, परंपरा का पानी जिसमें दीक्षा लिया जा रहा है.
Flooding the world.
बह रहा है बस पानी.
With plans, how many gurukulas?
कितने गुरुकुल खुले?
We stopped counting.
We stopped counting.
हमने गिनना बंद कर दिया है.
Yeah. So that wasn't the story. Will that do?
That will do.
Our glories to Bhakti Raghava Swami and his disciples. Hare Krishna.
Actually, Antardweep, I remember him many, many years ago. Of course, he came in 76,
Yeah, first time.
I came to India, to Mayapur also in 1976.
मैं याद करता हूँ कि 1976 में अंतर्दीप प्रभु आए थे. मैं भी भारत में 1976 में ही आया था.
And one fine day, I don't remember the details, but one fine day I saw some young English young man. I remember him with a guitar and a car.
मैं एक दिन देखा कि एक अंग्रेज यहाँ पे घूम रहा है गिटार और एक कार लेके.
Not many people come to Mayapur with a guitar and a car.
बहुत सारे लोग यहाँ पे गिटार और कार लेके नहीं आते थे.
And not many people who come with a guitar and a car stay in Mayapur.
और वो जो आते थे वो रुके, ऐसा नहीं था.
And become connected in Guru Parampara.
और गुरु परंपरा में कनेक्ट हुए, ऐसा नहीं हुआ.
So for those who don't know, actually Antardweep Prabhu is the mastermind behind Mayapur TV.
मायापुर टीवी जो है उसके पीछे के मास्टरमाइंड अंतर्दीप प्रभु.
Mayapur TV mastermind Antardweep Prabhu ki. So we are actually very indebted and grateful for the wonderful service he is doing, because thousands of devotees all over the world are indebted to him because they're able to have darshan of Shri Radha Madhava and so many festivals, etc.
हम बहुत ऋणी हैं और आभारी हैं कि इनकी वजह से पूरे दुनिया के भक्त लोग भगवान के उत्सवों को, दर्शन को पा सकते हैं.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Just like to say, my skill isn't in so much in the Mayapur TV side, but I'm very good, and I've gathered a wonderful team here. Who some of them are even in Calcutta now broadcasting. We've got some at the other table.
Okay, of course.
अभी कलकत्ता में भी और अलग-अलग मंदिरों में भी चालू हो रहा है मायापुर टीवी का जो चैनल है.
Thank you very much, Antardweep Prabhu ki.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति राघव स्वामी नामे नमस्ते गौर सेवा सदा निवेदात्मने युवाद प्रपादार्ध वर्णाश्रम प्रचार. Namaste Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Speak short sentence so he can translate.
Yeah. So, I humbly request my respectful obeisances onto your lotus feet.
महाराज, मैं आपके चरण कमलों में दंडवत प्रणाम अर्पण करता हूँ.
Happy 76th Vyaspuja Maharaj.
आपको व्यास पूजा की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं महाराज.
Actually, how I inspired from Maharaj, I just want to mention. So I was nothing when I was starting. It was starting of Krishna consciousness mind. So when I was in Hyderabad, I just got introduced to Maharaj's mission by His Grace Sridham Prabhu. So actually, it was I got to know the importance of cows and sustainability, working in villages, agriculture, all these things. So slowly into the Maharaj's mission.
तो जब मैं हैदराबाद में था तब मैं धीरे धीरे महाराज से बहुत प्रेरणा मिली मुझे. मैं गौ माता और स्वावलंबी होना, इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में मुझे बहुत ज्ञान मिला.
So when we are trying to in the starting stage of Krishna consciousness in Hyderabad, so we used to Maharaj started Govinda Gogram Yatra. So going to every village in 108 villages.
तो उसके बाद महाराज ने गोग्राम यात्रा शुरू किया जहाँ पे महाराज 108 ग्रामों में जाने वाले थे.
So while going when trying to do the programs and villages, we understood that the importance of preaching in villages, the importance of sustainability, and how importance of how the agriculture or cows is also a backbone of even Krishna consciousness. So they are not away from Krishna, they are not out of Krishna consciousness, they are within Krishna consciousness. Go seva, agriculture or preaching in villages, everything.
तो जब हम महाराज के साथ ग्राम में प्रचार करने गए तब हमने ये जाना कि गौ सेवा एवं कृषि ये सब कृष्ण भावनामृत से अलग नहीं है, बल्कि कृष्ण भावनामृत के रीढ़ की हड्डी के समान बहुत अहमियत है. ये कृष्ण भावनामृत के साथ इनका पूरा संबंध है.
So there are many people, many of the devotees think they are out of, no need of cow care or no need of preaching villages or no need of agriculture, no need of devotees. Devotees only can do in the normal way of preaching all these things. So one of the experience I got like is, so how the villages are being degraded during our yatra in Gogram Yatra, all these things. And one of the village, I went with Maharaj, so I cannot mention the village, but Maharaj is staying in the second 108 villages. Maharaj is staying in each and every village 5 days.
तो जब हम आमतौर पे हम ये सोचते हैं कि ये कृषि कार्य, गोरक्षा, इन सब का कृष्ण भावनामृत के साथ कोई संबंध नहीं है, पर जब हम गोग्राम यात्रा पे निकले, महाराज प्रति ग्राम में 5-5 दिन रहा करते थे. तो जब 108 ग्रामों में दूसरे ग्राम में महाराज थे,
second time when Maharaj was visiting Dharma Gogram Yatra. So one of the village, the accommodation, and we visited the village, one accommodation and all, I was very much, how Maharaj is staying in this condition. I was really, that day I was got realized that he is not a normal person. He is out of bodily consciousness. I was totally, how Maharaj is here, how Maharaj is this village, with this kind of accommodation, with this kind of facilities that was provided. So that was the best possible facilities that village can do, but that was very least. So a sannyasi like him, means I couldn't able to digest that. Even I was very much, I was unable to be there, but for 10-15 hours only. So
तो जब मैं वहाँ पे पहुँचा तब जिस परिस्थिति में महाराज वहाँ पे रह रहे थे उसे देख के मुझे इतना आश्चर्य हुआ कि मैंने उसी दिन समझ लिया कि महाराज कोई आम व्यक्तित्व नहीं है. वो दैहिक स्थिति से एकदम ऊपर है, वो एकदम आध्यात्मिक स्थिति में है, क्योंकि वो जिस परिस्थिति में थे वो ग्राम ने पूरी कोशिश की अच्छी परिस्थिति देने के लिए, पर फिर भी उसमें कोई साधारण व्यक्ति नहीं रह सकता था.
So whatever the Maharaj instructions that are giving, whatever the instructions Maharaj is giving to everyone, or is all Srila Prabhupada's instructions, our Acharya instructions. So that all the instructions are actually speaking is mainly for sustainability of ISKCON. So anything creation is okay, but sustenance of the thing is very important in any of the maintenance and sustenance. So in order to sustain our ISKCON movement or Hare Krishna movement for many thousands of years, so the instructions given by Acharyas was directly given by Maharaj on. So for the sustenance of our Krishna conscious movement, we have to follow the instructions of Maharaj. So that's how he has taken the essence of everything, all the Acharyas, and is giving us the instructions.
तो महाराज वही शिक्षा दे रहे हैं जो श्रील प्रभुपाद दिया करते थे, और अगर इस्कॉन के पालन के लिए इन शिक्षाओं की बहुत ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि सृष्टि बहुत आसान है और पर पालन ये बहुत मुश्किल चीज़ है, और महाराज के शिक्षाओं को अगर हम अंगीकार करें तो हम पालन अच्छी तरह से कर सकते हैं.
So last 2 years we were realizing what the instructions Maharaj has given, and those was the realizations every devotee in their heart. At least they may not be telling outside, but they might have experienced it in their heart what instruction given, how they should affect, even the material things will affect a devotee and all. So
तो पिछले 2 साल से हमने महाराज से जो उपदेश सुना है, हम सब के हृदय में वो एकदम सही बैठता है, भले ही हम उसे बाहर प्रकट ना करें, पर हमें सब पता है.
So I beg Maharaj for his blessings, so that we can do. We are like coming younger generations, so all our younger generations we want to work together and work in the service of for the pleasure of Guru Maharaj. So I seek blessings from him, so that we can do whatever service until our last breath we can do, and we can serve Maharaj in his mission. I seek blessings from him.
तो इसीलिए मैं महाराज से आशीर्वाद के लिए प्रार्थना करता हूँ, क्योंकि हम युवा पीढ़ी है और महाराज का आशीर्वाद हमें अत्यंत आवश्यक है, ताकि हम अपने अंतिम सांस तक इस आंदोलन में सेवा कर सके.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Shivanand Prabhu has been serving dedicatedly in the farms and conducting many Varnasrama colleges. He's given all his life for service of Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Shivanand Prabhu. Hari Hari Bol. Maharaj came to Kamyavan last 2 years back in summer. They're all having coolers and fans here. Maharaj के रूम में कूलर भी नहीं था, फैन भी नहीं था. टेम्परेचर चेक किया तो 48 डिग्रीज था. Just 48 degrees. He just came from Canada, which was -5 degrees. So all the way from -5 degrees to 48 degrees. So I agree, Maharaj's body is not something material, it's beyond our imaginations.
तो जब हम आए थे यहाँ पे, महाराज कनाडा से पधारे थे, पर यहाँ पे जब वो रह रहे थे तब टेम्परेचर था 48 डिग्रीज. मतलब इससे एकदम हमें ये प्रमाणित हो गया कि महाराज का शरीर कोई साधारण शरीर तो नहीं है, ये एकदम आध्यात्मिक शरीर ही है. हरि बोल.
Hari Bol. From Vijay Prabhu from Bhaktivedanta Gurukul, Kutam. He is a pioneer in establishing Gurukul in Parashuram Gurukul in Hebri. Let's give a big Hari Bol to Vijay Prabhu. He is, I've seen him in Hebri. So one man with all the challenges, he served and established under Maharaj in Hebri.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Slakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamlam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanshya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagan Raghunanthanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitansya Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Raghava Swami Niti Namine Namaste Gaur Sevayam Sada Niveditaatmana Yadu Prabhupadardam Varnasrama Pracharine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavati Paschadya Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So please accept my humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj.
हे महाराज, मेरा दंडवत प्रणाम स्वीकार कीजिए.
So we were in Hebri. I will just share you with all you devotees our such we had such association with Maharaj. We will share some association pastimes.
तो हम हैबरी में महाराज के साथ थे, हमने उनका बहुत संग किया। तो हमने महाराज के साथ क्या संग किया, ऐसी लीलाओं के ऊपर हम चर्चा करेंगे।
Hebri is a place very diversity. It's in diversity is world famous.
हैबरी एक ऐसी जगह है वो बहुत विचित्र है और उसकी विचित्रता सारे विश्व में प्रसिद्ध है।
You can see there lots of varieties of snakes, flies, etc., etc.
वहाँ पे आप इतनी विचित्र है कि वहाँ पे बहुत विचित्र विचित्र आपको सांप मक्खियाँ सब दिखेंगी।
So I had went there last in time of Corona 2020.
तो मैं वहाँ पे गया था कोरोना के समय 2020 में, साल 2020 में।
So I came to know that Maharaj was living there from last how many years, and when I went there first time, I was shocked.
तो वहाँ पे महाराज बहुत सालों से रह रहे थे, पर मैं जब पहली बार गया मैं तो एकदम चकित हो गया।
And the rain there, my God, the rain there is like very heavy. I was not been there in rainy time, but I heard from the public living there that it's very heavy rain, so I ran away from there.
तो वहाँ पे जब मैं गया, मैं वहाँ के लोगों से मैंने सुना कि यहाँ की वर्षा बहुत ज़्यादा बहुत खतरनाक है। तो जब मैं वहाँ पे गया, मैं वर्षा से डर के मैं वहाँ से भाग गया।
But the determination and the tapasya capacity of Guru Maharaj is unlimited.
पर महाराज का जो दृढ़ संकल्प और तपस्या है, उसका कोई जवाब
In such diverse climate and this humidity season, and after that this rainy season is such diverse that and in that diverse conditions Maharaj is living there, and also with snakes.
और वहाँ का तापमान इतना विचित्र है, इतना मुश्किल है वहाँ पे रहना, और उसके ऊपर से इतने सांप भी है, फिर भी महाराज वहाँ पे रहते हैं।
So this shows Maharaj's enthusiasm for Krishna's service and Srila Prabhupada's service.
तो इसी से हमें पता चलता है कि महाराज का उत्साह कितना है श्रीला प्रभुपाद और कृष्ण की सेवा में।
So Maharaj is a real follower of Srila Prabhupada.
महाराज श्रीला प्रभुपाद के एकदम सच्चे अनुगामी है।
His single step, if he is stepping only single step, that step he also takes for the happiness of Srila Prabhupada.
उनका एक कदम सिर्फ श्रीला प्रभुपाद की खुशी के लिए होता है।
And his mood, his mentality is always for the service and happiness of Srila Prabhupada.
और उनका जो भावना है, उनकी जो सोच है, वो सिर्फ श्रीला प्रभुपाद को खुश करने के लिए है।
And we the fallen soul in this material world, we are unable to understand. When we met Maharaj first time, I was unable to understand Maharaj's mood and mentality.
और हम इस जड़ जगत के बद्ध जीव, हम उन्हें समझ नहीं सकते। जब मैं पहली बार महाराज से मिला था, मैं उनके बारे में कुछ नहीं समझ सका।
Maharaj's life's soul is Devya Varnasrama and Gurukula.
महाराज की ये जो दैवी वर्णाश्रम गुरुकुल है, वो महाराज की आत्मा है।
And we came to know this from our acharyas and our senior devotees.
और ये हमें पता चला हमारे आचार्यों से, हमारे वरिष्ठ भक्तों से।
So actually Gurukula, Maharaj's teachings only we came to know that Gurukula is a backbone of our Devi Varnasram.
और महाराज से हमें पता चला कि जो गुरुकुल है वही आधार है दैवीय वर्णाश्रम।
So we have very less time, so we can talk about Maharaj's pastimes and Maharaj's all qualities whole night, but we have shortage of time, so I ask for Maharaj's lotus feet to bless us so that we can dedicate our whole life in service of Guru Maharaj's message and make lots of 10,108 Gurukulas all around India and world,
we seek Maharaj blessing. Maharaj ji, please bless us.
वैसे तो महाराज के बारे में उनकी लीला अनंत है, उस पर जितनी चर्चा करो कम है, पर अब समय कम है, इसलिए बस मैं सिर्फ महाराज का आशीर्वाद चाहता हूँ उनके चरण कमलों का, ताकि हम महाराज की कृपा से 10,108 गुरुकुल बना सके और प्रभुपाद और महाराज के इस कार्य को सफल कर सके।
हरि बोल। 10,108 gurukuls ki. I would like to call upon ISKCON Mukund Padma Prabhu. He is a senior brahmachari. He is staying in Talasari farm. He was a city brahmachari, but by Maharaj mercy he moved out to the farm. So he is one of the young youth leaders, doing a lot of youth preaching, deity worship, and now into accounts. He's been upgraded a lot.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Raga Swami Niti Namine Namaste Gaur Sevan Sadani Vidyatmane Yuvatul Prabhupada Varnasrama Pacharine. Actually, just like Kirtiraj Prabhu said in the starting, he is not prepared. Even I was also not prepared. I came just to listen to some pastime from the seniors and other devotees over here, but it's like unexpected.
तो जैसे पहले कीर्तिराज प्रभु ने कहा था कि वो भी तैयारी के साथ नहीं आए थे, मैं भी तैयारी के साथ नहीं आया हूँ, मैं तो सिर्फ सुनना चाहता था, पर अब मुझे बोलने के लिए कहा गया है तो मैं कोशिश करूँगा।
When I joined ISKCON, I came through in Juhu, Shri Radha Ras Bihari temple. So first time in the youth meeting we were discussing about the various sannyasis.
तो जब मैं पहले ISKCON से जुड़ा तो मैं जुहू में श्री श्री राधा रास बिहारी जी के साथ जुड़ा था और हम चर्चा कर रहे थे वहाँ पे सब सन्यासियों के बारे में।
So how all these sannyasis of Srila Prabhupada disciples have taken a particular mood and they have dedicated their life and to fulfill the mission of the Srila Prabhupada.
और श्रीला प्रभुपाद के हर एक शिष्य का एक अलग भाव है, जिस भाव को वो लोग हृदय में लेके श्रीला प्रभुपाद के इस उद्देश्य को सफल करना चाहते हैं।
So that was the first time when I heard His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj about, dedicated his life Varnashram, and the Varnashram was something new for me.
तो तभी मैंने पहली बार भक्ति राघव स्वामी महाराज के विषय में सुना और किस तरह उन्होंने अपने जीवन को वर्णाश्रम में उत्सर्ग कर दिया है, और वर्णाश्रम मेरे लिए कुछ नया था।
And that devotee kept on glorifying Maharaj. Then the curiosity has increased, so how can I meet, Maharaj?
तो वो महाराज भक्ति राघव महाराज के विषय में बहुत गुणगान कर रहे थे, तो मेरे अंदर की जिज्ञासा बढ़ गई कि मैं कब महाराज से मिलूंगा।
So luckily, actually in Juhu had hosted the GBC meeting in the mid-term, that was in the October during the month of Kartik. So Maharaj was also came over there.
तो ये मेरे बड़ी सौभाग्य की बात है कि जुहू में मैंने जीबीसी मीटिंग में मैं वहाँ पे होस्ट था और वहाँ पे महाराज स्वयं विराजमान थे।
So that was the first time when I saw Maharaj, and Maharaj Bhagavatam class was the temple had requested Maharaj to give the Bhagavatam class.
तो तब वहीं पे मैंने महाराज के प्रथम दर्शन हुए, और सौभाग्य की बात यह है कि मंदिर ने कहा था कि महाराज आप श्रीमद् भागवत की कक्षा दीजिए।
So the whole Bhagavatam class was completely focused only one concept, how to establish the Varnasrama and how is it in importance.
तो सारी भागवत कक्षा में विषय एक ही रहा कि कैसे वर्णाश्रम की स्थापना की जाए और वर्णाश्रम का महत्व क्या है।
And this is I seen very common in Maharaj class. You give Maharaj any topic, whatever the topic it may be, somehow Maharaj will divert it and focus on the Varnasrama.
तो ये महाराज का एक बहुत विशेष गुण है कि महाराज को कोई भी विषय दी जाए चर्चा के लिए, महाराज उसको वर्णाश्रम से जोड़ सकते हैं।
And it's a speciality of Maharaj. It's like I tried sometimes, but somehow I could not able to do it.
और मैंने बहुत कोशिश किया, मुझसे तो नहीं होता, तो ये सही में महाराज का विशेष गुण है।
So being in Juhu, when I joined in Juhu, when I told my Juhu management that I am inspiring from Maharaj for the initiation, so they were very happy.
तो जब जुहू में मैंने कहा कि मुझे महाराज से दीक्षा लेना है, तो वो बहुत प्रसन्न हुए सब लोग वहाँ पे।
So when I approached the authority that I wanted to take initiation from Maharaj, So the first question he asked, are you shifting to village?
तो जब मैंने वहाँ पे अपने वरिष्ठों से कहा कि मुझे महाराज से दीक्षा लेनी है तो उन्होंने मुझसे पूछा तो अब तुम्हें गांव जाना पड़ेगा.
So I thought, is it compulsory that?
तब मैंने पूछा क्या सही में गांव जाना पड़ेगा.
Then he said, no, just I am asking because you are taking initiation from Maharaj. So Maharaj's mood is completely for the focusing on the development of the village, creating a village in that way.
तो तब उन्होंने कहा नहीं ज़रूरी तो नहीं है पर हम पूछ रहे हैं क्योंकि महाराज का जो भाव है वो एकदम ऐसा है कि हमें ग्रामीण सभ्यता के ऊपर ज़्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए.
So just as I told, Maharaj is completely dedicated, focused, and his concept is very much clear. No illusion or kind of two thoughts are there.
तो महाराज का जो भाव है वो एकदम स्पष्ट है, उसमें किसी प्रकार का छल कुछ नहीं है.
Just like it's whatever it's related to the Gurukula or it's related to the Varnasrama, and wherever Maharaj has got the opportunity, he has never missed the opportunity. So in that sense, Guru Maharaj is very opportunist.
तो जहाँ पे भी गुरुकुल, जहाँ पे भी वर्णाश्रम के प्रचार के बारे में कोई भी अवसर मिलता है, महाराज हमेशा कहीं भी उसे खाली नहीं छोड़ता है. इस भाव में देखा जाए तो महाराज इस चीज़ में बहुत विशेषज्ञ है.
So already Kartal has rang, so I stop it over here.
तो अब करताल बज चुका है तो मुझे यहाँ पे रुकना पड़ेगा.
So just a small, I will just say small incidents. I had not taken the initiation. Before that, I got a message that Maharaj is going to visit Mumbai. And at that time, I think Ram Lakshman Prabhu was serving Maharaj. He will not able to reach on time.
तो इस एक छोटा कथा बोल के मैं समाप्त करूंगा. दीक्षा से पहले जब मैं मुंबई में था, मैंने सुना कि महाराज आने वाले हैं. तब राम लक्ष्मण प्रभु महाराज की सेवा कर रहे थे और वो किसी कारण से समय पे नहीं पहुंच सके थे.
So I have been asked to cook for Maharaj.
तो मुझे सौभाग्य मिला महाराज के लिए खाना पकाने के.
And I heard that Maharaj has cooked here in Radha Madhav temple also. So he is well expert in cooking.
तो फिर मुझे पता चला कि महाराज भोग रंधन में भी उनका बहुत ज़्यादा वो बहुत उसमें पटु है क्योंकि उन्होंने राधा माधव के लिए भी किया था.
So I've been asked to cook khichdi. So somehow I made khichdi and Maharaj.
तो मुझे उन्होंने कहा कि खिचड़ी बनाने के लिए महाराज के लिए. तो मैंने खिचड़ी बनाया था पहले.
So when I went to serve Maharaj, so Maharaj, the first question Guru Maharaj had asked, have you cooked before?
तो जब मैंने महाराज को खिचड़ी पर अर्पित करने गया तब महाराज ने मुझसे पूछा क्या तुमने पहले कभी खाना बनाया है?
Actually I am indebted to His Grace Hari Kirtan Prabhu and Sridham Prabhu, both of them who introduced me to Guru Maharaj. It was in 2015 May summer. So Guru Maharaj came to Mayapur to, I don't know what was the event, but Maharaj came to Hyderabad, Mayapur, so to Sriram Prabhu's house.
तो मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ श्री राम प्रभु का और हरि कीर्तन प्रभु का कि उन्होंने मुझे महाराज से मिलने का मौका दिया. महाराज आए थे मियापुर में.
So then actually there was one book called Make Vrindavan Villages, which Maharaj actually, I got it signed with Maharaj. So Maharaj signed and gave it to me.
तो एक महाराज का एक पुस्तक है मेक वृंदावन विलेजेस. तो वो महाराज ने उस पर हस्ताक्षर करके मुझे दिया था वो पुस्तक.
Yes. So till that point I was just chanting, but then when I started reading this book, somehow I never read any books before that much, but this was a small thin book, so I started reading it.
तो उसके पहले तो मैं सिर्फ नाम जपा करता था, पर उसके बाद मैंने ये पुस्तक पढ़ना शुरू किया. वैसे तो मैं पुस्तक ज़्यादा पढ़ता नहीं था, पर जब मैंने इसे पढ़ना शुरू किया
तो in that book there was an interview between Hari Kirtan Prabhu and Guru Maharaj, where Maharaj mentions it is high time we have to establish Varnasrama. It's been, Prabhupada told this in 1970s itself.
तो उसमें हरि कीर्तन प्रभु और गुरु महाराज के बीच में एक वार्तालाप था जहाँ पे महाराज ने कहा था कि अब समय हो चुका है कि हमें वर्णाश्रम की स्थापना करनी चाहिए.
And Maharaj says, it is very late and it's already 2003. That statement was there. And I was reading that in 2016.
तो उसमें लिखा था कि बहुत देर हो चुकी है और अब 2003 साल भी हो चुका है, और मैं ये पढ़ रहा था 2016 साल में.
So somehow that day I was like, I was feeling, oh, it's been already 13 years. That statement was already given by Maharaj. What can we do now?
तो मैं सोच रहा था कि 13 साल हो गए ये महाराज ने ये बात कही 13 साल पहले, तो अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं.
Now it's been 6 years or 7 years. I couldn't do much. But when I see these Gurukul boys, definitely I'm sure Maharaj, whatever, I mean, I can't say that as a worry, but whatever your concern is there, definitely these Gurukul boys will fulfill. We have lot of hopes on this Gurukul system. I'm very, what do you say, I mean, I really want to appreciate from my heart, bottom of my heart, all the principals and Gurukul teachers and the Gurukul students. I just spent some time with these Gurukul boys. Really they are amazing.
तो अब महाराज की सेवा करते हुए 6-7 साल तो मुझे हो गए. मैं ये तो नहीं कहूँगा कि बहुत कुछ मैं कर सका, पर जब इन गुरुकुल के छात्रों को मैं देखता हूँ तो मुझे इस बात की आशा एकदम से आ जाती है कि ये अब महाराज के सपने को आगे लेके जाएंगे.
Definitely. So Prabhuji was mentioning that Maharaj instructed to establish 10,108. So imagine 10 years after this, there will be crores of Gurukul students coming from there. 10,108 is a very huge number, right? So there will be crores of devotees every year coming out of from Gurukuls. If you ask me, they are like nectarian drops. If they interact with city, it's like putting those drops into a salted ocean.
तो अब एक भक्त ने कहा था कि हमारा सपना है कि हम महाराज के लिए 10,108 गुरुकुल बनाएंगे. तो आप सोचिए कि इन गुरुकुलों से कितने करोड़ छात्र यहाँ पे आएंगे, और मैं तो कहता हूँ एक एक छात्र एक अमृत की बूंद के समान है. और अगर हम इन छात्रों को जाके किसी शहर में रखते हैं तो ऐसा मानो कि हम अमृत को एक नमकीन सागर में डाल रहे हैं.
Actually, I will interrupt a little bit here, just to mention that one of the most Amshu, actually Sridham Prabhu mentioned Amshu, nobody knows what Amshu is, but Anantatirtha Prabhu has been especially focusing on reviving the traditional technology of weaving, of growing actually from the hands of devotees cotton, original cotton seeds, and the whole process. He can spend hours actually talking about it. We don't have hours. But recently, Gurukul boys visited Kamyavan, and he was amazed. Actually, I was also amazed. Within 1 or 2 days, he trained some of these Gurukul boys to actually make some thread. Isn't it? You can mention it a little bit after you translate.
तो यहाँ पे मैं आप सबसे अंशु के बारे में कुछ कहना चाहूँगा. ये प्रभु जी इस पर बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं, और ये इसमें हम सबको सिखाते हैं कि कैसे अपने हाथों से कपास का धागा बना सके. और ये बहुत आश्चर्य की बात है कि हमने जब गुरुकुल के छात्रों को सिखाया तो इन्होंने 1 या 2 दिन में ही ये कला सीख ली.
We should have a demonstration tomorrow for everyone. Yeah.
तो हम कल सबको हम ये करके दिखाएंगे.
Most of us, myself included, I actually did not know that traditionally actual brahmanas would make their own Brahman thread. They would never purchase, they would make their own.
तो मुझे भी ये पता नहीं था कि जो वास्तविक ब्राह्मण होते थे वो कभी अपना धागा खरीदते नहीं थे, वो अपना धागा खुद बनाते थे.
Yeah, so maybe you can briefly mention about that experience.
Hare Krishna. So there is one student here, Krishna Chaitanya.
तो यहाँ पे एक छात्र है कृष्ण चैतन्य.
He is sleeping. थक गया है.
तो वो अभी सो रहे हैं।
कोई बात नहीं। तो वो कृष्ण चैतन्य आज सुबह मिला और बोला था कि महाराज ने कोई बात
English.
महाराज ने मुझे सॉरी ये आया सो ही टोल्ड मी दैट कृष्ण चैतन्य तो ये है कृष्ण चैतन्य। तो he was mentioning that Maharaj asked me to make this thread. He will wear the Brahmin thread made by Krishna Chaitanya. See how fortunate this boy is. So soon we will be training many devotees in this. One day we will grow cotton. These kids will make yarn and they also weave and dye with natural colors and give it to Maharaj. Maybe next Vyaspuja.
तो देखिए ये छात्र कृष्ण चैतन्य महाराज की कितनी बड़ी कृपा है इन पे। इन्होंने कहा कि इनके हाथों से जो जनेऊ का धागा बनाएंगे वही महाराज पहनेंगे और हमारी ये भी परिकल्पना है कि अभी इन छात्रों के ही हाथों से हम एक जो धागा है उससे हम महाराज के लिए वस्त्र भी तैयार करेंगे और अगले व्यास पूजा में हम महाराज की ये भेंट करेंगे। हरि बोल हरि बोल।
One last point. So we have to, there should be a very strong plan to engage these kids. That's what I meant actually. So crores of devotees will be coming and again they should not go to cities in search of some jobs. So there should be a very strong plan to engage them so that the depth of ISKCON will increase and it will become more stable and independent of the modern economy.
तो हमारी परिकल्पना ये है कि इन छात्रों के लिए हमेशा हम इन्हें कुछ करने के लिए दे सके ताकि इनको शहरों में जाके अपने पालन पोषण की चिंता ना करनी पड़े।
हरि बोल।
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ब्रह्मण्यदेवाय गो ब्रह्मणहिताय च जगद्हिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Jai Sri Prabhupada. So I'd like to begin by thanking all the devotees who have come from different places to be present here in Sridham Mayapur for this event and ceremony today.
तो पहले मैं अपना आभार व्यक्त करना चाहूँगा हर एक भक्त को जो अलग अलग जगहों से आए हैं इस अनुष्ठान में।
Especially, I'm very thankful that by Krishna's mercy, we have a very good presence of our Gurukul boys from different places here in India.
और एक आभार इस बात का भी है कि यहाँ पे भारत के अलग अलग प्रांतों से बहुत सारे गुरुकुल के छात्र भी उपस्थित हैं।
I was just sharing with a devotee, I believe yesterday, just like in a family. In a family, if there are no children, that house is like empty.
तो कल मैं
without life, lifeless. Yes.
तो कल मैं एक भक्त के साथ चर्चा कर रहा था कि जैसे एक घर में अगर बच्चे ना हो तो वो घर एकदम सूना एकदम बेजान लगता है।
Yes, according to Vedic culture, actually marriage primarily is to have progeny, to bring forth good souls who will actually become devotees of the Lord.
तो हमारे वैदिक धर्म के अनुसार विवाह का मूल उद्देश्य ये है कि उससे हम अच्छी संतान उत्पन्न कर सके जो आगे जाके भक्त बने।
So a family becomes actually successful when there are children. That is Vedic injunction.
तो हमारे वैदिक धर्म में कहा गया है कि एक परिवार तभी सफल होता है अगर उसमें संतान हो।
In the very same way, ISKCON as a society will become vibrant, will become alive, will become more meaningful when we have hundreds and thousands of Gurukul boys all over the world.
तो इस्कॉन भी एक समाज के रूप में तभी ज़्यादा फलेगा, ज़्यादा फूलेगा, ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा जब हजार हजार गुरुकुल छात्र विश्व के हर एक प्रांत में होंगे.
Many may not know that many years ago, many centuries ago, here in India, there used to be over 7 lakhs Gurukula.
बहुत लोगों को शायद ये बात पता नहीं होगी कि यहाँ पे बहुत बहुत सालों पहले बहुत गुरुकुल हुआ करते थे, बहुत सैकड़ों सैकड़ों गुरुकुल हुआ करते थे.
A few minutes ago, one of our devotees mentioned that our goal is to establish 10,108 Gurukulas, but actually our goal is to re-establish 7 lakhs Gurukula.
वैसे तो कुछ भक्तों ने पहले कहा कि हमारा उद्देश्य यह है कि हम 10,108 गुरुकुल करेंगे, पर नहीं, हमारा वास्तविक उद्देश्य है कि हम 7 लाख गुरुकुलों को फिर से वापस लेके आएंगे भारत में.
Hari Bol. So actually this is very much possible, and not only is it possible, it is absolutely necessary if we are to re-establish and revive our Vedic culture of Sanatan Dharma.
तो ये सिर्फ संभव ही नहीं पर इसे करना पड़ेगा अगर हम अपने वैदिक सनातन धर्म को फिर से खड़ा करना चाहते हैं तो.
The whole world is actually in total chaos due to actually having forgotten about and having rejected actually this eternal culture of Varnasrama Dharma.
तो समग्र विश्व में आप देख सकते हैं कि बहुत ज़्यादा अशांति है क्योंकि हम हमारे वास्तव धर्म को भूल चुके हैं, इस सनातन धर्म को, वर्णाश्रम धर्म को भूल चुके हैं.
We have a society today all over the world and unfortunately also becoming manifest here in India of Varna Sankara.
और हम देख रहे हैं कि वर्ण शंकर की जो तादाद है वो सारे विश्व में एवं भारत में भी बढ़ रही है.
Varna Sankara means that it is a society that is totally disorganized, that is totally, the individuals within that society are totally misdirected.
और वर्ण शंकर का मतलब ये है कि एक ऐसा समाज जहाँ पे नागरिकों में, जहाँ पे हर एक नागरिक अपने पद से भ्रष्ट हो चुका है.
From Varna Sankara we have to revert and reintroduce the, as instructed by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, we have to reintroduce that eternal, most natural, scientific system of Varna and Asrama.
तो वर्ण शंकर से हमें, जैसे हमारे संस्थापक आचार्य ने हमें कहा है कि हमें वापस वर्णाश्रम, वर्ण और आश्रम ऐसी पद्धति में हमें वापस जाना पड़ेगा.
One of the many important quotes given by Srila Prabhupada is the following.
श्रीला प्रभुपाद के बहुत महत्वपूर्ण वचनों में से एक है
that one of the purposes of our Krishna consciousness movement is to bring a complete overhaul within society.
हमारे इस कृष्ण भावनामृत आंदोलन का एक मूल्य उद्देश्य है कि समाज में एक पूरा परिवर्तन लाना.
And to revert, Srila Prabhupada uses the word revert. Revert means to come back, to revert to the system of Varna and Asrama.
और हमें वापस जाना है. प्रभुपाद ये शब्द यूज करते हैं कि हमें वापस जाना है वर्ण और आश्रम वाले पद्धति में.
And it is very important to discuss, possibly tomorrow I'll elaborate a little bit more, how the whole Western culture, so-called culture especially, is actually a major deviation from what is meant to be the natural system as taught in our Vedic literatures.
और कल हम इस बात पे और चर्चा करेंगे कि कैसे जो तथाकथित पाश्चात्य सभ्यता है वो हमारे वास्तविक सभ्यता से एकदम अलग है और एकदम अप्राकृतिक अस्वाभाविक है.
Actually, according to Vedic culture, the vast majority of young boys should not be in the school. They should actually be out grazing cows.
और वैदिक धर्म के अनुसार, वैदिक सभ्यता के अनुसार जो ज़्यादातर युवक छात्र है वो कोई पाठशाला में नहीं बल्कि बाहर वो गोचारण, उन्हें गोचारण करना चाहिए, ना कि पाठशालाओं में पढ़ना चाहिए बैठ के.
This might seem like a controversial statement, and it needs a little bit of explanation, but the reality is that unless and until we re-establish and revive what is called the agrarian village culture. Vedic culture is a village culture primarily. Vedic culture is a culture based on cows, land, and how to purify and elevate our consciousness.
तो ये काफ़ी सुनने में थोड़ा अलग लग सकता है, पर हमें समझना पड़ेगा कि जो वैदिक सभ्यता है वो मुख्य रूप से एक कृषि, गो एवं भूमि पे आधारित है और इन चीज़ों की हमें बहुत आवश्यकता है.
Therefore, it begins, as was mentioned a little earlier, Vedic culture, the backbone of Vedic culture is actually Gurukula, which enables individuals to be trained in their Varna and ashramas.
तो हमने ये इस बात पे पहले भी चर्चा की थी कि जो गुरुकुल है वो वैदिक सभ्यता की आधारशिला है, जिससे एक छात्र को वर्ण और आश्रम पद्धति में सही मार्गदर्शन प्राप्त हो सकता है.
It is absolutely impossible. It is impossible to fulfill the mission of Srila Prabhupada without Gurukula.
और गुरुकुल अगर ना हो तो श्रील प्रभुपाद के इस उद्देश्य को कभी पूरा नहीं किया जा सकता.
So, at present, there is a very concerted effort on the part of a number of devotees to actually introduce Gurukul in different parts of India, and I very much encourage everyone here to actually tomorrow we have some nice photo albums that we will share with you. I encourage everyone to give this very serious thought, especially those of you who are householders, grihastas, and who have children.
तो हमारे बीच यहाँ पे बहुत सारे भक्त उपस्थित हैं जो जी जान से कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कैसे भारत के हर एक प्रांत में गुरुकुल स्थापित किया जाए, और कल हम इसके बारे में और चर्चा करेंगे और आपको कई सारी तस्वीरें भी दिखाएंगे, और हम चाहते हैं कि आप इसके बारे में विचार कीजिए.
Vedic culture, Srila Prabhupada often he explained, is, and not only Vedic culture but our ISKCON society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, is primarily an educational and cultural movement.
और ये जो वैदिक सभ्यता है और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कृष्ण भावनामृत संघ है, यह मुख्य रूप से एक शिक्षा के लिए और सभ्यता को जानने के लिए है.
Educational movement means that education which is given in Vedic literatures, Vedic education which begins with Gurukula.
और शिक्षा का मतलब वो जो हमारे वेदों में पढ़ाया गया है, जिसकी शुरुआत होती है गुरुकुल से.
And culture, educational movement and cultural movement. Culture means that eternal culture which is unchanging and which is based on eternal principles that we find in both Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
और सभ्यता वो है जो कभी बदलती नहीं है, जो सनातन है और जो भगवत गीता और भागवतम में बतलाया गया है.
So I'm very, very thankful and very happy also to see so many of our Gurukul boys who have come from different places, and definitely in the years to come we expect and we request your kind prayers for this to happen, but we expect that many more hundreds, we are actually looking for thousands of more Gurukul boys to get this wonderful opportunity to be exposed to our Vedic culture.
तो यहाँ पे मैं बहुत प्रसन्न हूँ इतने गुरुकुल छात्र को एक साथ देख के, और मैं चाहता हूँ कि इनकी संख्या लगातार बढ़ती जाए ताकि वो जान सके कि ये वैदिक सभ्यता कितनी सुंदर चीज़ है.
And tomorrow I will spend a little bit of time to explain about why I have, we could say, returned to Sridham Mayapur. I first came to India quite some time back, actually in 1976. And I was reflecting how Krishna is very kind. He first brought me in the early days to India, to Sridham Mayapur specifically, and somehow by some great fortune and great mercy on the part of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I am getting an opportunity to again come and spend some time here in Sridham Mayapur.
तो जब मैं वापस मायापुर में आके मुझे बहुत प्रसन्नता हो रही है. मैं आया था मायापुर में जब नए कृष्ण भावनामृत संघ की स्थापना हुई थी. बहुत पहले मैं मायापुर में आया था श्रील प्रभुपाद के आदेश से, और मुझे बहुत प्रसन्नता होती है कि मैं यहाँ पे आके भक्तों के साथ समय बिता सकता हूँ.
Actually, when I was in Sridham Mayapur, although I was going to villages quite extensively, the Namhata program, at that time, actually, I could not understand about Varnasrama.
और बात यह है कि जब मैं पहले मायापुर में प्रचार किया करता था, मैं ग्रामों में बहुत गया, पर तब मैं वर्णाश्रम के बारे में ज़्यादा कुछ समझता था नहीं.
We had Gurukul, of course, at that time, and I was always very much appreciating the fact that some of these young boys were getting this very unique opportunity to be trained in our Vedic culture.
हाँ, तब मैं गुरुकुल देख के ये सोचता था कि हाँ, ये तो बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है कि यहाँ पे कुछ युवा छात्र ऐसे हैं जिन्हें इस वैदिक सभ्यता के बारे में सिखाया जा रहा है.
But I'll just finish on this point. By hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures, by reading his books, hearing his classes, etc., by Krishna's mercy, over the years, somehow this whole idea and very important aspect of Prabhupada's mission of Varnasrama became more and more of a reality. Yeah.
पर उसके बाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की कथाओं को श्रवण करके, उनकी किताबों को पढ़ के धीरे धीरे वर्णाश्रम का जो महत्व है वो मेरे हृदय में कृष्ण की कृपा से, प्रभुपाद की कृपा से उजागर होने लगा.
And a few days, maybe a few weeks ago, one devotee whom I knew when I was in Sridham Mayapur, so he's been around for many, many years, he told me, Maharaj, I only heard for the first time, like a month ago or a few months ago, I did not know about Prabhupada's 50% of his unfulfilled mission. I never heard about that.
और एक भक्त ने बस ये 1-2 महीने पहले ही मुझे कहा है कि महाराज, इससे पहले मैंने प्रभुपाद का जो 50% बाकी जो काम रह गया है, उनका जो बाकी उद्देश्य जो उन्होंने अभी भी उनका जो अभी भी पूर्ण नहीं हुआ है, उसके बारे में मैंने तो इससे पहले कभी सुना ही नहीं था महाराज.
And I think possibly even here this evening, some devotees may still not know or understand this statement given by Srila Prabhupada, conveyed and recorded, that 50% of Srila Prabhupada's mission is actually to revive and re-establish Varnasrama Dharma.
और मुझे ये बात भी पता है कि यहाँ पे अभी भी बहुत लोग ऐसे होंगे जिन्हें ये बात पता नहीं है कि श्रील प्रभुपाद ने जो कहा था कि मेरा आधा काम अभी भी बाकी है, वो आधा काम क्या है? वर्णाश्रम की स्थापना करना.
And this was a very, very clear, very strong, often repeated desire of Srila Prabhupada, even in the very last days of his physical presence with us in Vrindavan. You can see the video, you can hear Srila Prabhupada's words, whereby he is again reminding and instructing that our movement will actually be successful. And Prabhupada just repeating what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also previously mentioned, if we re-establish Varnasrama Dharma.
और श्रील प्रभुपाद जब वृंदावन में अपनी अंतिम लीला में थे तब उन्होंने इसी बात को बहुत बार दोहराया और भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर ने भी इसी बात की पुष्टि की थी कि वर्णाश्रम धर्म का महत्व कितना ज़्यादा बड़ा है.
I'm looking at the time and I'm looking at the Gurukul boys. It's getting really late now, especially for Gurukul boys. So I will end here for now, and we hope to see everyone again tomorrow to share our thoughts and our experiences. Hare Krishna.
तो अब समय हो चुका है और गुरुकुल के छात्रों को मैं देख रहा हूँ, उनके लिए तो और भी ज़्यादा देर हो रहा है, तो इसलिए अब मैं अपने बात को यहीं पे विराम देता हूँ. हम फिर कल चर्चा करेंगे.
जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समस्त गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल. Excellence Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj ki. So you have a prasadam there, afternoon wherever you had. So tomorrow's schedule is follows. We'll have a translation. We have a first class translator. Give a big.
In Mayapur.
I would like to have them able to attend, but there was a prearranged TV installation at Newtown, Calcutta.
I would like to attend, but there is a pre-arranged program in Newtown, Kolkata.
And I just like to say how you had surrendered everything and come to stay in Mayapur.
I would like to say how you surrendered everything and come to stay in Mayapur.
And at that time when Prabhupada, he wanted to have Western devotees stay in Mayapur.
At that time, Prabhupada wanted Western devotees to stay in Mayapur.
You were a long time in Mayapur.
You were a long time in Mayapur.
And then, at one point you helped to establish the Namahat.
At one point, you helped to establish the Namahata.
You know, like laws and other conventional transport methods and registered many new huts.
I didn't get the first part.
You went by bus.
You went by bus.
And many conventional.
Many conventions and established new centers, Namahata centers.
So then he made a Raghava rules and methods of administration for the Bhakti Namahat.
So we made, sorry, I didn't get, okay, I will transcribe it, not a problem. You can say.
And we made a Rama.
You made a drama, Rama. Rules.
Aims.
Yeah, aims.
And methods of association.
Methods and of. Okay, I know this book.
So, are you helping establish the Namahata?
So you are helping in establishing the Namahata?
Now, the Namahata has many centers.
Now the Namahata has many centers.
In East and West, then there were 720, 710 Namahats in each district.
In East and West Medinipur, there are 720, 710 Namahata in each district.
So from a very small beginning, Namahat has grown because of your giving your devotional service.
From the small beginning, Namahata has grown by your devotional service.
It is not gone. When we were attacked in Mayapur and they stole Radharani,
When we got attacked in Mayapur and they stole Radharani,
you came forward, although you were crippled
You came forward even though you were crippled.
And they threw a bomb on your leg.
They threw a bomb on your leg
And blew off
and blew off
one of your legs.
one of your legs.
And since then you've been going in crutch.
Since then you are using the crutches.
You become the Varnasrama minister for India.
You became a Deva Varnasrama minister for India.
And having your association
And having your association
was very wonderful for me.
very wonderful for me.
So I wish you a happy Vyaspuja, and I hope that all your disciples can appreciate your glories.
I wish you a happy Vyaspuja, and I hope that your disciples appreciate your glories.
Your servant, Jayapataka Swami.
Your servant Jayapataka Swami. Thank you.
Jai Swaminatha Jayapataka Maharaj ki.